There they are. There's what I need. Okay, close enough to 6 o'clock. Call the select board meeting to order for June 26th. No, not June 26th, June 29th. Yeah, that's right. Tomorrow's the end of June. Tomorrow my husband is 75 years old.
Happy birthday.
Woo! Okay.
We
Have some people with us?
I'm checking.
Okay.
Okay. Are we? Oh,
What?
this is gonna be weird. Hold on a second.
Does it work better on a phone? I got my phone if you need it.
No, I've got to check. Okay, so we've got Ken and Nolan Ryan and 730-7642 online. Hold on. Okay, so that is a delay. So we're trying something new tonight for anybody that's listening. It's streaming live on YouTube, so I think for people that want to listen. So we're trying something new tonight for anybody that's listening. Oh, jeez.
That's not gonna work.
No. You're gonna have to go to the home page of the town website and click on the live stream for YouTube and check that out. Oh, that is not.
The doctors are finding with this virus that it's already mutating, so that, because you know they do samples all the time, and originally they could look at it and, oh yes, this is the stuff that was coming from China, and this is the stuff coming from Europe. They now got, like all the people in Chicago, there's a tiny percentage of it that looks like one of those, and this, the rest, the bulk of this is completely different. So it's just, this sucker is tough. I mean, again, you know, the way it keeps changing and just scary.
Mute your audio from.
Somebody made it.
Okay, hold on. A second.
Somebody made it.
Okay.
Could be, but the natural world's been doing a good job of.
All right.
I mean, look at all these terrible
think we
viruses
have
you have in
this.
hospital now that nobody made, that are, you know, our antibiotics can't kill it.
You said the Spanish flu lasted 2 years,
Yep.
but that was 100 years ago, and that technology is quick.
Kim, are you online?
Sure, and the way we all travel these days. And
Okay, thank you.
folks,
Just
our
doing a roll
traveling
call
days
here.
were done, so we're just, yeah, here we are.
Ryan, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
And you have the live stream too, don't forget, as an option if anybody wants to see the meeting. And 730-7642, are you hearing it? Oh, sorry. Hi, Al. Okay.
I don't see the link on the website, by the way.
Okay, I can fix that.
So do I.
A technology expert.
Flush the cache problem. Hold on. Okay. Can you see it now, Allie?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I'll set that. We are done with technical issues.
Okay, now are we ready to start the June 29th Select Board meeting? Our end of the fiscal year. Sort things out, see what they look like. I'm gonna be glad when we have our regular printed out packets up here.
Or
And
or tablet.
that's, even that I admit, I'm a printer. Okay, well, so now who do we have on joining us? We got Kim, Ally, Ryan, okay. Is that any public comment or just where they leap in? Okay, we'll talk about any union stuff at the end. I assume that's the best way to do it. All righty. The next is Lamoille FiberNet resolution.
Okay, we had a resolution approval actually back on June 15th.
Right.
And since then, the governor signed the authorization for you to vote the resolution. So it wasn't in place on the 15th, it was put in place on the 23rd of June. So this is a ratification, if you will, but it's the resolution vote to have Hyde Park join the Lamoille FiberNet Communications Union District, and at least 2 other towns, if not 3, are doing their votes in early July. And the regional board will meet, I think they're thinking of July 13th. And that's the first meeting of this new regional board with the representatives from each of the towns that had a select board vote. So our representative will be Michael Rooney, and each of the other towns will also appoint 1 person. And then they'll do all the bylaws and rules and all those things that a new governmental entity does.
And what other towns have already voted?
No, we're the first.
We're the first? Okay.
I think Johnson and Belvedere the first week, next week.
Next week, okay.
Waterville, Eden has talked about it, but I haven't heard too much about them lately. Wolcott joined the NEK CUD.
Right?
And
We know what more?
Town is trying, they're talking about it.
Okay.
So I don't know if they're committed yet.
Did Cambridge go do their own thing, or is going another?
Which town?
Cambridge.
Cambridge should be coming.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't have a date for them.
Yeah, okay.
So that's what's happening, and of course, Michael will report to the select board as this other board gets going. Our current Hyde Park Fiber Committee is likely to continue in a kind of a
Right.
monitoring role as the other group starts going, and at some point they may not need to meet anymore. Or they may stay and just meet to monitor the regional board for the select board so that you don't have to watch it as closely.
Yeah. It'd be nice to have a group or whether they're formal or not, that are willing to.
Yeah, they're into this kind of stuff. So to
That's
speak,
right.
so.
Because
They
my
understand-
ability to understand any of
Whether they're
this
part of
after about the
committee-
first sentence, I'm
Yeah, whether
going.
they're part of the committee or not, they'll probably want, stay interested.
Okay, so do we need to vote it again?
Yes, you should vote it
We'll
now,
have to vote it
that
again.
you post the governor's
Okay,
authorization.
so I guess what we need is a motion to do what we did before, which is what, to join the Lamoille FiberNet?
So moved. Second.
Okay, and we know that the town representative is Michael Rooney. And he's on there for a year. Okay, I guess, any more discussion? No? Good. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? Okay. The Center Road culverts purchase order.
That is,
I think 4 and 5 kind of run together in some ways.
yeah. As you know, we've been talking about Center Road for quite some time. We've completed the analysis, I guess you could call it, of the sizing of the culverts, and found that one of them had to be booted up the chain to a state permit. The rest are all exempt from state permitting, which is good. Chris Brunel came and looked at everything. Watershed Consulting helped complete that work. Mark French took Watershed's report, accepting that one, which is a larger structure, and put together a purchase order, which is $30,000. And that money is going to would come from the assignment that you all made last June, 23,900 plus unspent money in erosion control. I have the other note, there's one other line item here.
Don't we budget 30,000 a year, 30,000?
Every other year, so that 2020 had zero. 2019, where the 23,900 was assigned from, was your 30,000 balance.
So we had 23,000 left over from
Yeah,
that. Okay.
from 19, so that.
From 19, so
Now we're at
that's,
the very end of 20,
20.
and we're finally, proposing to spend it, and then July 1, we have another 30 for the next bunch of culverts.
And we did look at 3 different providers for the culverts, and it was the lowest price.
One plastic?
And it's the gray ones, not the black ones.
Smooth.
So,
Should be smooth, yeah.
Now, any culverts that are in there now are gonna be dug up, right?
they're gonna be removed, that's my understanding.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't gotten to the RFP yet. The RFP for the actual contractor work, because some of them need 1 or 2 larger excavators to get in there, because they're deep. The scope of work needs to be fine-tuned to answer that question. So, for example, I believe all of the culverts are planned to be replaced in their existing location, which means you have to yank the current one out.
Well, there was one up there we looked at,
Or the alteration of the angle of the,
Or if it's
of the
offset
culvert, yeah.
for a better alignment, yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So what, that must happen at the meeting or two that I was,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so are they we're gonna culverts 1 year and pave and stuff the next?
Well, we gotta see how
Or everything goes?
well, I think that's what this conversation is gonna get us into.
Exactly.
Right,
Gonna lead us
right.
in that
We
direction.
just because of the timing of everything.
Now, did you check in to get the bond and doing the whole thing?
No, because we think we can do it without it.
Yeah.
Okay, there may be,
Up to,
Cleveland Corners.
Cleveland, was it Cleveland Corners, or were we gonna go up to,
Oh, Tenny.
Tenny Road?
yeah,
From the Marshall line to the Tenny Road,
Those are options
and, you
based
know,
on finance.
dig up the old culverts and put the new ones in. There's one there that's gotta be put down the road just a little farther, the first one right there by Reed's,
Yeah, like this is Reed, yeah.
you know. Gonna dig that old one up and then put a new one in.
right, and doing that at a whole different angle and everything, right?
I mean, it was.
Where's the great big one that has to be, that we've gotta get the
Yes,
permit?
yes.
Okay,
Gagnier, never found the last name.
Galvin.
yeah, okay. Okay. Right, so it's trying to figure out a variety of money and how much it's all actually going to cost. And one of the things it seems to me, we've got more culvert, is getting all the years mixed up. So we have the culverts bought. I mean, we signed this and we've got the culverts bought, except for the big one, right?
Right.
And I don't know, I mean, it's so late in the year, because sort of everything, from Halloween forward, everything just has been sort of delayed, put off, messed up, you know, that the Halloween flood just got so many things far behind, and then trying to fix that up this spring. And then, of course, with COVID, and that's put a delay on everything. And I know our original aspirations were to be able to do the culverts this year, and now tell me if I'm right, the culverts this year, and let everything settle and put some covering over it, and then let it settle, and then pave it the next year. It seems, I mean, here we are, it's July. Is it better in the work that they did last year, because I'm up that way often, see, it seems to be great. You're up there all the time. The road seems to be in pretty good shape. I'm driving it.
The center road,
Yeah.
in good shape?
Yeah, do you remember what it was last year?
I I thought we talked about, if we had the money
Yes.
to do the culverts and then put some gravel on there and then, grind that.
Right.
And then just put a base on it for this year,
For this year, right.
Right.
you know?
But being this time of year, do we have time to do that realistically? And then we've got the great big culvert that somebody else is gonna have to come in and do it.
Well,
With some of this,
we
right?
might only be able to go to Cleveland Corners, like he said, because that big culvert's after Cleveland Corners.
Yeah, okay,
So even if we went from Marshall Line to Cleveland Corners and dug all the culverts up, did all the culverts, okay? And then set back and grind that up, and then just put a base on it, you
Yep.
know? I mean, it depends on how long it's gonna take them to do that culvert.
Then next year do the same thing on the upper,
on the upper hand.
Yeah,
then pave it all at once.
and then
Well,
do a base this winter on the old, the stuff we tore up, do a base on that. And then next year come back in and do that up through there and do a top coat on this. If we have to, we'll just do a base coat on the, up from
the
the
second
corners
One
up
reason
through.
is we want it to compact
right,
as
right,
much as, use the traffic, not only with us compacting, but have the traffic compacted. And then the final coat goes over it, it shouldn't get that cupping into it from the traffic as much.
It's a-
We're gonna
So
get-
just so I understand, you wanna pull the culvert, you wanna grind it and put it on Tenny Hill to Marshall County line.
Yeah.
If we could do that big
Next,
culvert.
next year, do the same thing on the other half.
Yeah,
Then next year, you're gonna pave from Tenny Hill down?
And next year, what we do is you come in, put a good top in from Marshall Line up to wherever we go this year, and then next year, put a base on that up there, and just let that set it.
Then finish coat the whole
then
thing.
finish.
Got it, yeah.
It gives it time to settle, David. A
Yeah.
good example is
that makes
just
sense.
above, Casella's up there. You see them culverts?
Yeah.
They had to fill that one in?
Yeah, ka-thump, ka-thump, ka-thump.
Yeah.
we wanna get the most out of our money
Yeah.
by doing it that way. And then letting the traffic, and then there's gonna be some, possible development up in there, stuff like that. So there'll be some big trucks going up and down there. That will push that down, compact it in, and then we'll level it all up and, with that coat, and then come back in and pave it all when we're completed the whole.
No, I'm a fan for doing it right, even if it's.
Yeah, so I think this year, because of the big culverts after, that we go Morristown line to Cleveland Corners Road.
I think people should be happy with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, but that makes sense, and if the big culverts are after, why, that's sort of it's also kind of an obvious stop point. I mean, if you, instead of just sort of being
Well, it's
someplace where
measurable,
somebody's driveway.
it's a measurement
Right.
point, and it's something we can
Yeah.
gauge.
Yeah, yeah, and it makes sense to say, you know, we're going as far as Cleveland Corners this year, and then it's,
Exactly.
how, okay, for you distance guys, is that how much, 40% of the distance?
No,
No, almost half,
Yeah,
I
half.
think
Is
it
it
was
almost
about.
half?
it's 3
Well,
miles,
Tenny was half.
Tenny was happy.
it's 3 miles
You
from
know,
my
I-
road to
Yeah.
McMahon, so.
Okay, all right, so if Tenny is half, then this ought to be about 40% of the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, okay,
40, 38,
okay,
you know,
yeah.
who cares? I mean,
Round it, yeah.
but you got the majority of it. You got the majority of it.
Well, 40% is a majority.
but it'll give us a it'll also give us a projection for next year too.
Good.
It'll give us a projection on,
Well, yeah,
costs
we'll
and
have a
stuff like.
much better idea. Do we, I know everybody has opinions, but do we know what's actually under that road, and that's where we're doing,
Well, I
part
talked
of
to,
it's gonna tell us one thing, but it doesn't tell us what the rest of the.
yeah, and I went back to the history, and I went and talked to Ken Harvey.
Okay,
And Ken Harvey stated that it had a good base underneath it, because the work they did years ago, they did improve the base of it.
okay,
So when we grind that,
the first part will know for
yes,
sure. Gotcha.
we should
Okay.
be able to find out. If it's different than what we think, then we make adjustments on the second half.
Okay,
Are you gonna put any gravel on that?
I'd like to put some of our gravel onto it and then.
And grind it all together?
Grind it together, mill it in there. I don't know if it's really been resolved, how much, if it's gonna be, 5 inches, 10 inches of gravel we put in there, that type of thing. But, it'd be nice to, get that in there and get that good base established on top of what we have there.
Well, if you
And
put,
then Ron had mentioned that we can go in there and see. Now, we talked about possibly getting somebody to look at that.
Yeah, so, again, the people that talk without all the information, right? It's like, you need the information. So on a 3.2 or a 1 mile long road, you're gonna find variations because of the way the roads were all built. Sometimes they just took rocks and sticks and threw them in the middle, other times they started off the right way and laid fabric and did it, different. So everybody has their own history of that road, but the treatment type that you pick, whether it's a shim and overlay, smooth road concept, or whether it's going down and trying to redo the base a little bit, which is the ultimate one where you actually worry about the base. You worry about drainage first, that's a sort of a no-brainer, because you have to do that, but. So of these 2 or 3 other, 3 or 4 really, treatment types that you could do to your pavement from, this is a maintenance project, it's not a rebuild the road, but you have 4 different maintenance options. A lot of that is based on that subbase. So there's only 2 ways to get the subbase. You're gonna get some information with your culvert removals, which is really good information, because you'll go down a lot deeper than you normally would to worry about the project. For the sections that you don't have good information in, you could do soil boring. So we just did some of those on, we did 6 or 7 or 8 of them up at the old hotel. It's like a half-day thing, and they pull out the log of that drill, so you go down 4 or 5 feet probably, and it will tell you what you're dealing with.
Yep.
And you might, in some of these, you might get, because you have wheel ruts from 20 years of travel, you might get a milling job of 3 or 4 inches and you put it right back. Because all you're trying to do is get the surface nice, because the base is proving to be in good condition. Or you might go down 2 feet and find out you're hitting water and stumps, and then it's a different type of project. So rather than think about it too much, I think that's what Brian and I were talking about. What does the town need for information on 3.2, because you're looking at $1 million project after all said and done. So how much time and effort do you do into the, sort of spend a few weeks or whatever doing a more detailed study, so that you kind of set aside the question a little bit better, I think probably a lot better, if you can start to know what's under the road. So you might have the same treatment for the first 3/4 of a mile, maybe the whole thing. You gotta do a reclaim, you gotta go down 10 inches, add gravel and really build that up, because it's really bad there. You might get up towards Dave's house and find out it's just wear and tear of the road that's causing a problem, but you can go down 4 or 5 inches of good gravel.
I'd want to test it, because that's only the true.
Yeah, no, that
right?
makes a lot of
I
sense.
think you sort of get off stop there, because we have these options to pick from.
But I can tell you that from Marshall's Dairy up to at least Tenny Hill, that is 2 sides of a stone wall pushed in to make that road. Up my way, when they did that hill, that was dug down, and it was fabric up through.
I think Ken talked about that up by your way.
Up there, and the new section they put from the edge of my lawn up through to the T, that was dug down in fabric. That's gonna be a lot easier than the boulders.
And based on that finding
Right.
that we'll have from the testing, we'll determine how we proceed forward, and hopefully it'll save us some money, hopefully.
It's just Ron says, once you do your culverts, you're gonna have a good clue.
You'll have
yeah,
that as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Yeah, we could,
Yeah.
and with 20 crossings or whatever, you'll have a lot of information that most towns don't have, because they just don't do that much work all at once. A lot of times the towns just do the 1.5 inch overlay and move on, because it's the longest mile, but they're back at 8 years trying to solve a problem that should have been 14 years now.
Do we have any idea when some of those culverts were replaced in there, or put in, or?
It's over 20 anyway.
Over 20.
I don't think the road's been touched for a long time, right, Dave? Even
Oh,
with paving?
12 years ago, or 11 years ago, depending how long I've been on the board, it's questionable. That first year I was on the board, they tried to save money and put that cold chip coat on it.
Oh.
And they filled all these ruts and stuff, and it looked good for the first year, then it started back up again.
Yeah.
Because you just pushed it out.
Yeah.
You go up there, you walk up through there, there's cracks in there, you look down those tracks, and I'm not lying, some of those tracks are that deep because of just layers and layers of that chip thing in the asphalt and stuff.
Great for a mortar settlement.
So it's got to be ground back to that gravel. The whole road. Well, no question about it, 'cause you put.
And the testing will confirm that as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
if you put tire on top of tire, that bathtub, it's on the bathtub.
Yeah,
And you actually save a lot of time by going up through there, doing your culverts and grinding it and putting the gravel on, whatever. Because every culvert that you dig up, you've gotta cut the pavement and then you gotta refill it with blacktop for the winter.
yeah.
You know, so that takes time
Yeah.
to put another 3 to 4 inches of blacktop in there. Then the next year you come along, if you grind it the next year, you're grinding that new blacktop all up.
But you're saying just grind it and leave it, no blacktop on the top.
Exactly.
Well, that's what I would do. The
And
first
then
thing I would do is I'd try to get it grinded, and then you don't even have to mess with the blacktop when you're doing your culverts.
Exactly.
And that will save us on salt this winter, cause you're gonna salt that road.
Oh,
No, we gotta put a.
yeah, you'll salt it, but you'll save salt because it's so much smoother.
Yeah, but I thought you said you're just gonna grind it and pack it.
No, grind it, pack it, and then
Put
put
a
a top and coat on it, blacktop for the
In the
winter.
first year.
First
Yeah,
year,
just the base, Nate.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Just the base, leave the base.
But the sooner we can get it in there, and the sooner, the more traffic and more compact, it will get from the traffic in there to get it to where we want it, so we put the pavement on, we won't get that cupping and the pushing out, because it'll be packed hard both ways. If we put the chloride to it too, when it was, after we get it graded out and stuff, it'll compact really good in there, and.
So
actually
if
hold
we,
it.
here we are at the 1st of July. We gotta have, I assume that some of the culverts that we need the bigger equipment with are from the Morristown line to Cleveland Corners Road.
It's the other end, it's the bigger,
Yeah, but what we're talking about doing this year,
you know,
okay, just those culverts, right? I'm just picking
Sure.
more, because that's easy, okay. Can we do that ourselves, or do we have to contract? And then how?
That's a lot of work.
yeah, we'd have to contract it, we don't have the equipment to do it, meaning an excavator to probably do it properly, lift those culverts, get them set into place, hold them and shove them together, whatever we've gotta do with it, you're gonna need to have the right piece of equipment to
Are
put it in.
we gonna be able to find somebody that gives us a reasonable bid, or are people already all
At
busy?
the pace we're going right now,
Well, I'll tell you one thing that I heard the other day, and I was surprised to hear this. I know I wanna use any contractors we can around here first.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ireland, I know a guy, his son works for Ireland, and they're saying they don't have hardly no work at all. This is unbelievable for Ireland. And that's what I was told the other day, so, you know, we gotta get our contractors around here first, but there's no doubt about that. And I wanna specify our contractors first,
yep.
as long as it's a reasonable bid.
as long as it's a reasonable bid. Very good, yeah, but I'm just saying, there is contractors out there that do apparently need work.
Back in the time, we had a rule of thumb, it was like 5%. 5%.
Well, we could set something like
Yeah,
Susan
yes,
said.
right, do some, yeah, just,
If a Hyde Parkian contractor was 5% different, we would.
That would be fine with me, I don't know about the other two, but.
yeah, or even just in this region, it's,
Yeah.
you know, right, it's fine, but, right.
Buy local.
No, it's
No,
true,
that's what
but
we're
I'm
doing,
just saying,
we're
there
getting
is,
somebody that hopefully.
there is people out there that can do it, and
They're still
another
looking for
one,
work?
another one I
They're
understand
competitive.
is Tetro.
Yeah, it's competitive. Yeah.
It's interesting, because right.
Yeah, I would thought so too.
Well,
So
I'm
we're
talking with some builders, and they're like.
Just to put it up for bid, I mean, Joe
Yeah,
can
see
do
what
it,
happens, right?
Woody could do it,
Yeah,
Jerry,
Jerry Oddie could do it.
Okay, and so to make sure that, so this year, what we're looking for is Town Line to Cleveland Corners. Those are the culverts we're doing.
them are the ones that.
Right, and get that is done so that it can then just an overlay and we get through then next year, we do Cleveland Corners, the rest of the.
all the way up to the.
That would give us plenty of time in January to be looking for bids on
When we
all of
should
that
be,
work, yeah. Okay,
I
and
mean,
that's when we do the rest of it, and then also in that year, well, it's interesting, would you do the finish, and that's, I don't know, would you do the finish on the first half, or are you better to leave that, skip a year
I
and
don't
do it
think I'd
all
wanna
finished?
leave, I don't think I'd wanna leave with what I've had for experience, you don't wanna leave a base 2 years.
Okay,
So what we were talking about is, first year, like we talked about, that there's a base coat put on there.
yeah,
Okay, and then we'll put a base coat, hopefully they jump on it in the springtime. Okay, so there's a base coat on it for the whole summer, on the upper half. And we'll still be
Okay.
driving on the lower half.
Yeah.
And then towards the fall, we go in there and we finish it all the way down through.
Yeah.
And then both have plenty of time to compact, and I don't think it'll move on us, and using your word, back dumb out, you know, that type of thing, and it'll avoid that and give it a better surface to pave on. Better quality,
okay,
especially with the millings already in it and packed down, and keep, like I said, chloride going to it.
so I guess 4 is, we know we wanna go ahead and buy the culverts. That makes, you know, and then do we end up, does he keep them for us, or do we get them brought over here to?
Well, there's an option, they can either store them down there
Yeah,
to,
I'll figure that out.
down there, but yeah, or we can have them up here.
Okay, didn't make any
There's
difference.
good people do this.
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess with 4, let's agree we need a motion to approve the purchase order for the Center Road culverts.
Now, did we purchase them from them all, or did we purchase them from Cleveland Corners down?
This is all,
This is all of them, and I can't see them
You're gonna get
going down in price by next
Yeah,
year.
right.
Yeah, you're gonna get a better deal if you buy them all at
yeah,
once.
right,
Exactly,
Oh,
both,
so moved.
second.
okay, any more discussion? We're good, okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? Okay.
That's great, we're making
Well,
progress.
that's right, we got the
Making
culverts,
progress.
that's right, it's like, yay!
So,
Yeah, fireworks, we
When's
don't wanna do
the-
that.
when are you gonna post this in the paper?
Posting what, when the,
The work that needs to be done on the
Board-
lower
Put the
half.
video.
right,
Tomorrow.
Yeah, we need to get a little bit better on the RFP. So the RFP for just the culverts is pretty simple. We have 17, I think, culverts in that.
So that'll be good, because we can be drawing the data from the excavating on that, plus we can then
We
get
can
lined
test the
up with
rest
the
of
other
it.
person
Right.
to do the
Right, test the
research
rest.
on
So we
that.
have the sizing, we have the locations, we have the scope of the work, and we could get it in the paper pretty quickly, so.
The only thing I'm gonna throw out there is, whatever's in that road for culverts have to be dug out.
Yes, I agree.
And I don't wanna see nothing myself with culverts that are left in the road filled up with concrete.
No.
You?
Bring them out.
Yeah, the only time that
We
you
would,
could
yeah.
actually fill them with concrete is if it's gonna save you a lot of money. And I think because we're replacing things in the same place,
well, we're
you don't
replacing
have
them in the
that.
same place, right?
You don't
gotta
have
get
that
rid of
option.
them, right.
Well, there's one of them that's gonna be, if there's one of them there, it's gonna be moved down the road.
Just a distance, and then angled a little bit.
You're just gonna have to dig that one up, you're gonna have two plot spots dug up, you know, because it runs across one woman's lawn, goes down over the bank. When they built the house, they added on to the town culvert that should have never been done, but they did it back then, that's the way things were done. But dig up that culvert, get to the person's lawn, and then from there out, it's whatever that she wants to do.
Yeah.
Once it's off our
She's the
radar.
poor lady that had all the water running into her yard.
No.
It's Reed's place.
Oh, okay. Okay,
That's good.
Michael Rooney, hello.
okay, so we need to get that out, see, at the same time, should we, it's not as much of a rush, but make arrangements to get the borings done on the drilling, the borings, whatever you call it, on the rest of the road, to
So-
get some idea what it's
I
gonna
might-
be.
That'll be happening when we're starting the digging on the, it can be done while the culverts are being done. And both data, what we discovered from the digging on the culverts and the data that they do can be combined together at the same time.
That's on the lower half. I'm
Yeah.
going up on the upper half.
We do the whole road.
Do you
Yeah,
wait?
we'll do the whole road.
Okay.
Testing would be the
Test,
whole road.
you test the whole road, that's what I'm looking for,
I mean,
okay.
We wanna get.
Right, it'll be
stop
helpful
it.
where they're doing the, right, but that would give us an idea
It's
ahead of
gonna-
time. We'll know what that looks like, and then how that compares with the lower half will give us a lot of information for the second half.
The treatment type you choose makes a big difference on where the money has to come from.
Well, yeah, and how,
So,
right.
the sooner we
how
can
much
get
is
to
it
that,
big, right.
the better. One of the wild cards is the $175,000 from the state grant.
Right,
They're not saying boo at this point, so usually those would be awarded by now.
right,
So they're just, we don't know until the legislature's done, is all I can get from the V-Trans.
Yeah.
Which is pretty soon.
I think they're done,
I think they're done, right?
they're done.
So hopefully the V-Trans will get the word about what's happening. with
They are done.
Yeah, they come back the end of August. They've just done a sort of get-through budget because there's so much that nobody knows. So they're coming back the end of August to do the budget for the rest of the year. Which is, I'm sure that's why I must put V-Trans in it interesting. So how much money do we have?
Right, exactly.
Mhm. Okay, but that sort of leads into 5, which is talking, the multi-year paving plan. And to have an idea what the total cost is, it's just sort of impossible to do that right now. In many ways, the total cost of the center project, because we really don't know.
Yeah,
We're still gathering,
Yeah.
still gathering
Yeah.
information.
That's gonna be over $1 million, start to finish. Way over $1 million. How do you figure we can do that without borrowing money?
The phasing is the typical answer. I mean, if you have all these roads, that's what the 5-year discussion is. It's not just Center Road that you want
Yeah,
to
it's
phase
everything
out,
else
you
too,
push
right.
every other road, right? The roads that we'll be pushing back are Centerville Road, which is failing up to the S-curves, headed towards North Hyde Park, and some of these other sort of shorter roads. But if you don't keep the Class 2s up, which get most of the traffic and have the most deterioration rates,
Yeah.
then you'll be totally stuck on those roads. It just makes it worse.
That's my point. I don't think it's a wise choice to
Push them out.
say we can do it and let the other roads go, because when we get done, we'll have one good road, and the other roads are gonna be what we're trying to do now.
Right, I guess the issue is right now is we don't know how much money we need.
And so when we get the
Yeah,
data
so
that
we
we
can't-
need, then we can, and we put it out the bid, we'll get an idea what the bids are gonna be, and that'll pull us together so we can
Right.
see.
Right,
You know,
Okay, say we want that route, I understand it. How long does it take from point A to point B to get a van, or get a
well,
approval for a-
we'd have plenty of time to do that since we're breaking it into 2
Right.
major halves. If we're trying to do it all in 1 year, it would be different.
Yeah.
But we're gonna be fine for the first part, and that gives us time to get plenty of information to say, okay, here's what it's gonna cost, here's how much money we're getting from the state,
There'll be a
here's how
projection.
much FEMA money we're getting back, so we'll
All
know
that.
exactly what we have.
Yeah.
And then we'll be in shape, and again, besides not just looking at that project, but everything that we wanna do to not have things fall behind.
Yeah.
Because one thing, looking at the finances of this country, is gonna be cheap money for a long time, which is, that's to our, our benefit, a project's benefit. They aren't gonna be charging a lot of interest on money, so we ought to be able to, and again, have a good idea of our money rolling forward. What, some years we get more than others, to be able to come up with a financial plan that shows here's what we need.
And going back to what you said at the last meeting, have that projected 5-year plan or
Yeah.
10-year
Right.
plan or whatever.
and there's another thing that everybody ought to be thinking about. I know what I would do, what you're gonna do with Cleveland Hill, going up through from the thing up through there, that's blacktop, and that thing is breaking up through there so bad, that it's almost impossible to re-blacktop that over that, what's there. So
Well, one thing we've talked about is reclaiming that.
Yeah, and just
And
turn it
then,
back to
and
dirt.
then just pave a shorter skirt coming off of that, and then leave the rest of that reclaimed in there. And with the pieces that are reclaimed in there, we'll compact and it'll give it a good surface too, but it's something that we can be graded.
Yeah.
So that we can keep it in,
You rode up that road lately, you see that blacktop?
it is pretty bad.
I mean,
And
well,
once we get that road done and stuff, I think, Hyde Park is the only town I know that don't post their roads in the spring. And I think some of these.
legally, probably Susan can answer that question. I know when I was going through it, they made me post roads because the state gives you the signs. The only thing you have to do is put them up. The state pays for them. You go over to town garage, they give you the sign. The thing that they told me in that meeting that I went to, Waterbury, that if you don't post your roads, the state can refuse the grants on not posting the roads in the spring. Is that true or not?
Never heard that.
Well, I did at that meeting. The state could come in if you didn't post your roads.
You might wanna check it out.
I can see where it makes sense.
Well, I was there that day and I know what they said.
It's just like me saying, I'm not gonna invest in something if you keep ruining it.
Yeah, we've never had it come up in a grant application or anything like that, so. It's easy to check out. It's not in the application form, I think. I can tell you
No,
that.
but I was there when they were talking about that. And then we started posting our roads every year after that. It's not a real big deal. It takes, half a day to do it, to run around.
Yeah, it's never been done, so there's definitely a way to do it. There's a couple things you gotta do, report to the state online system and all that.
Yeah, so you go over to state garage and they give you all the signs you want.
Yeah, they give you a piece of paper, but yeah, you have to print them out and probably, honestly, a lot of towns will laminate them, so they don't, they last the.
Yeah.
Now they're standard size. But is the board saying you only do it if you have to, is that what I heard? It wasn't clear.
I guess what you should do, or what somebody should research at,
Yeah.
make sure that,
Yeah, find out if it's a requirement, certainly we're gonna do it.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
if it will impact funding, then we should address it.
How much traffic is there on those roads that you think it's gonna make a big difference?
I don't know if it's the traffic, Susan, I think it's the weight.
The weight, right.
I think that's what they're looking at is the weight.
Right,
The biggest things are the trucks and other stuff coming in there.
again,
when the
how,
frost is
which ones would we be posting?
Usually-
How much
usually
traffic is there on those roads?
Loggers, stuff like this.
Okay.
Usually, they're very good, all the contractors, all the loggers are very good. They've always called and, can I do this, can I do that? And they usually know that, okay, it's gonna be frozen in the morning, I'll go get my load of logs out of there and I'll be
Yeah,
out.
It forms a line of communication with the road foreman, is what it basically does.
Yeah,
It lets them know what that you're gonna be on it, and you have permission, that type of thing, and that's when I was in Elmore, that's what it was, we'd get a call saying, I gotta get my logs out, and so go in at midnight, if you can do it, and you got the light, on your truck, go in there when it's cold and the roads are
Right.
frozen.
I've always been good.
Yep, okay, well, we'll run, check it out, see what we need to do. So I guess start next spring, it sounds like even if we don't have to, or interested in posting the roads. Okay,
Just taking a quick break here. Michael Rooney logged in a little late, so I just want to let him know that the Lamoille FiberNet CUD resolution was approved before he logged in.
that's right. And we thank him for doing it,
Yes, thank you,
yeah,
definitely can use it.
That's it.
yeah. I guess in terms of having a 5-year paving plan right now, we're sort of as far as we can go. So we get an idea, we've got more information, and then get an idea what that costs. And then we have a schedule of the roads going out that we know
So as soon as this is
what
done,
needs to be
Susan,
paved, yeah.
then we'll probably identify the road that needs to have some attention. Or we already got that?
Yeah, we have
Yeah,
some
well,
of that
I was
already.
gonna say, yeah.
But the idea is that the select board in particular, because paved roads are the biggest expense for highway
Yeah,
every year.
yeah.
It's not small, it's $200,000-$300,000 worth of work. Mark French is calling. Yes, Mark? Oh. Do you want to participate? What's Montgomery Hill? I don't, Cleveland? Oh, the hill. Oh, I mean, so you're just, all you're saying is that it's gotta be paved to where it is today. Yeah, okay.
I think that's the reason they paved where it was,
Yeah.
because they're having
Okay.
trouble with trucks coming down.
You got it, we
Washboard.
Huh?
The washboard.
Washboard,
Yeah,
You ever been up Vidal Hill?
yep, we got it.
You
Yeah,
been
thanks.
down below hill?
Yeah, he was just trying to make sure that you all knew that that was a critical hill for the constant slope. It's had a long history of washboarding and things, it wasn't paved to the top.
Because that was the reason they paved it to the top.
Yeah,
And the traffic's probably gotten worse since then, I mean,
Yeah.
marginally, it's not a new throughway, but as you've improved Garfield Road, I think people find that as a nice bypass out of Wolcott sometimes, you know? As you improve one road, it has these other impacts within the town. Okay,
so here's the, I know this was in the packet, but this would be a real.
that's the
eye-catcher.
beginning of that, yeah. It's an awareness
It was,
memo. It's awareness.
it was in your packet. I actually printed this one out because it gave me such heartburn. I guess that's why I wanted to do it. It's the Hyde Park paving needs short-term outlook. It's in, if you look at it, Ron sent it, but that's what you see, just the paving, short-term is looking a few years. This is not sort of what's on there. But then it's also the variety of sources of money that's coming in. And we aren't that far off. There's the other work to do, but it will, you know. We can get there.
That's the part that was in the packet. You said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it here.
Yeah. I can't forget trying to read that kind of thing on this.
Oh, I have to do the very bottom of my
Oh,
glasses.
that's,
okay?
that's right. That's when I go, okay, I'm going in to sit down at the desktop now.
If that doesn't work, I turn my phone so I can.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Just, it's all gotta get a little bit bigger, yeah, so start running into money pretty fast, but if you look down below and see the money that's coming in, well, we aren't, you know,
Ain't that bad.
no, it's not that bad. There's all the other work that has to be done on top of it, but just looking at the paving money,
Right.
you know, we're pretty close. You know, that's why we sort of went,
Selecting the treatment type
yeah,
is
Yeah.
having highway do what they can with their force account. Helps.
but it's just, that's on your, yeah. So, and again, that's, all that stuff is a ballpark, you know, it'll make a difference, but it at least, it looks perfectly reasonable, okay? It doesn't look like, oh, here are these giant projects and everything else is gonna fall apart if we do this, and how do you balance it?
$42,000 apart.
Yeah, and again, that's just to some extent back of the hand, but it's not, you know, okay, we'll see what happens. Okay, the Webster Road Public Trail subdivision.
All right.
Remember, we just,
Brian, you want to take that? Do you want
I went up and looked at it,
yeah,
and, the road,
exactly where the lady
the
is.
portion that we're concerned about, I went up there and drove down in. I wanted to see what was down in there further, so I went down in with my truck and, met a very nice lady down there at the end, and, I had a nice conversation with her, and then I came back out, and she pinpointed where her property ended and Beth's, her property begins and stuff, so I went up there and I looked at it, and I actually got out and took out my trusty tape, and I measured the road and stuff like that, and it's, the actual driving surface was 14 feet, with, you know, it starts tapering off and stuff like that, so there's 16 feet of road there, so that meets, the need, of that as far as coming in and out, and, for where her property is in there. So, but then, there's concerns, you know, about the traffic on the road, and, the neighbors down below they don't want any traffic coming through there. It's supposed to be a trail, it's not supposed to be driven on. and-
Right, those are the folks we went up last year and we
On
saw
the
that,
gate.
yeah, we talked about the gate,
Yeah.
right, making it a trail, but,
Yeah.
keeping that option open for the town.
And when I drove down in there, the lady literally came running down the road, so her concern is legit, you know, and she's got a nice spot down in there, and she
Yeah.
wants to keep it nice, and I don't blame her for that. And, when I explained to her what I was doing, she was very, very nice, and like I said, she was helpful too, to help me find exactly where, this whole project and stuff is, going or talking about, that type of thing. And then, we've got some wording, on class 4 roads, it's been highlighted in there.
Right,
And, so the existing, public trails, must not be utilized for land development purposes, other than, primitive, camps and non-structural uses. So we need to decide if it's a trail, how we're gonna proceed. These are new constructions.
Yeah, it's a definition issue, so the policy the select board adopted says public trails, you're not expected to put more vehicles on public trails. It's for walking, horseback riding, whatever. Webster Road was a through road from Route 100 to Grimes Road way back when as a class 3 road. Then it deteriorated to most of it being class 4, which is Ralph Larson's whole deal with coming multiple years, trying to get the road thrown up. And now, last year, the select board voted to turn that same class 4 section to public trail, except that there was already 2 homes out there.
right,
And Ralph had 2 more lots pre-planned out there. So it was never really intended to be a public trail in the sense of pedestrian only. It was the public trail right away was.
yeah, it's keeping other vehicles out there.
It's a mixed public trail, so limited housing is really what the action of the board was, because there was already houses and proposed houses out there.
Right.
The only difference is Beth Carrier wants to take one of those pre-existing lots and subdivide it and create this new impact, which is adding one more house to.
There would have been a potential 2, now there's 3.
Yeah, right, and you know, that's within your bailiwick of saying that's a minor change, they're not proposing 100 houses out in the middle of nowhere. It's a minor increase over what was planned. Now, does the town have a public trail map? No, we don't have a public trail designated for that. It's simply the public trail right away under state definition. You guys determine the use of that.
Right,
We haven't
well,
invested in it.
and
There's no
part of
public
this,
money.
right, well, and part of this hope was so that they are no longer shipped through on all the GPS maps and people getting stuck
Yeah,
out
that's
there.
fixed,
Yeah.
correct.
That was their,
Correct.
yeah, that was a giant concern that they were having. I personally, I don't have any problem with that. And do they now treat that as they take care of the road themselves? Right,
The lady that I talked to,
Yeah.
she says that
just like our road,
she pays for the plowing all the way
Yeah.
down and all the way back, because she's the further one down in.
right,
She had some concern about, you know, sharing, but that's not our issue.
no, that's right,
That's not our
that's
issue.
right, that's her issue.
But we put that back to a trail, right?
Yes.
We did.
Right,
So,
Should it be a trail or should it be
well, but we
Through
already
lane
knew
for-
it had
for
2
more houses.
subdivision down there
right.
that they were planning on building.
But
All
we
she's
want
doing
that.
is, yeah, so, and they were fine, we knew someday there'd be at least 2 more houses down there. What she's doing is subdividing one of them, so there someday, potentially, are 3 houses down there.
and the power is already, when I was down in there, I
Yeah,
did notice the
everything's all
power's
done,
there and
yeah,
the meters
yeah.
are.
Yeah.
So I mean, the issue is a trail, and it's a private road.
Well, because of what we put into our language, okay, that it's along the trail, you're not supposed to do more development or anything, and she is technically doing more development.
Beyond that field. There's Remember that? It opened up after you went across the brook?
Yeah,
And it opened up, she
Yeah.
goes,
Opened up right
Yeah.
in there, yeah.
you're on the Webster Barn side,
no. It's on the,
you're on the Grimes side?
yes,
It's on the grind side.
yes.
Jesus,
When you go up that
that's all
T,
swamp. past there.
Well, after you, remember he dug that ditch and put
Yeah,
that
yeah,
culvert
yeah,
in?
yeah.
I think where you're talking about is up above that, right?
Well, there's a tree line.
Yeah,
the tree
yeah, there's a
line.
tree line,
But when you
right.
take that right and you start going out into that field, that tree line you come to, it's on this side of it.
But it's on the,
So it is up higher. It is up higher than the swamp.
Well, that's not our jurisdiction to perction on. That's
Yeah,
not-
yeah.
That's not.
No, that's right, those are,
Just the
I'll
road.
do that stuff.
Just the access.
Yeah, it's really the first 420 feet after you get past that
Right.
class 3 turnaround.
so
And then
it's
it
just
goes
really,
private. Yeah, it goes private there. It's that first 420 that's the public trail, which is already built to 60 feet. Like I said, it has no public investment to make it a public trail. It's just designated under the state highway system as a public
but that was
trail.
the best thing to do with it to protect them in the future.
Yeah.
right.
So I don't have any problem with her doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Me neither.
not like a surprise that she was suddenly, I mean, if they were suddenly talking about putting in 20 houses or something,
Yeah, I think you
wait
could-
just a second here.
I think you can look at each proposal individually. So
Yeah.
she's proposing one house when you're already, one more than what you were already expecting.
Now, one thing that she did mention to me, and it's her option, is if it becomes for sale, maybe she can buy it. If she's worried about developing the lady that's down in
Right.
it further,
Right,
she could purchase it. And so that was something that she said to me that maybe she could buy it. So it preserves her.
right.
That's up to her.
So Brian,
Yeah.
Brian needs sort of board clearance. I don't think you have to kind of vote it, but just that you don't object to him
No.
continue
that's
the
fine.
process,
I don't.
the
No,
11-11
no, I think that's fine.
for the,
Okay,
for
good.
Yeah.
the two houses.
So, yeah,
Okay.
good.
Unspent budget and assignments for 2021.
All right, so every year in June, we come up to this time of the year where the town budget will close tomorrow afternoon. Any invoices that are dated July 1 or after, obviously go to the next year. Any invoices that are drafted now and are received after July 1, if they're dated in June, we'll bring them back, even if we pay them next year. So some departments had some unspent funds. And every department usually has ups or downs, and there's hardly anybody that can get to zero on every line item. So Mark looked at his budget and had one suggestion for $5,000 of line striping that was not spent this year. I think it was just a scheduling thing or whatever, it just got one of those items that got unspent. Brad Carrier just sent a text asking for, I think what he was asking for is whatever he had left in emergency management and whatever he had left in the Ask Squad salaries. I don't have those numbers, which makes it kind of hard to vote that. You're supposed to vote a dollar amount. I know conceptually he's asking it, so it is lost. It'll be lost in the sense that it goes to the unassigned fund balance. If anybody wanted some of that money back per se, or the board didn't want to make a decision now, town meeting day is really the best time to ask the voters to use unassigned fund balance. That's what we've done in the past.
Right.
The select board really should be looking from just doing a little bit of research at this time of the year to contracts that you have that aren't completed that need to get pushed to July 1. So let's say the $10,000 contract for line striping. The contractor was only able to spend 5,000 of it. You might want to assign the other 5,000 that you have in this year to next year so you can complete the contract. That's the cleanest assignment of funds.
Yeah.
Anything else in between is a little bit, sort of a management question. Why didn't you spend the money? Well, we didn't have as many fires. Oh, geez, there. So can we save the unspent salary money? Well, the taxpayers might say, great, you saved some money. Let's put it in the unassigned, and maybe we'll let you have some more money in March, or maybe you won't ask, or maybe we're trying to build up our reserves. So that's one option that happens if you don't actually assign the money. It does get put away in the town savings. It's not lost. It's not inaccessible,
Right.
but it would be accessible by a vote, article at a town meeting day. So again, those are the only two I've heard of. I asked Allison today if she knows of any other things that have been floating out the other departments, and she said no, so there's no, it's the $5,000 line striping, which you could, it does create a little bit of financial, management issues for Allison. She has to post things right and have it assigned, it has to be tracked through the audit, that kind of stuff.
So the roads that would be done, there are none that we're gonna be paving or doing any work to. So we're not.
Center Road is the only, that's a class 2, the state does that, so there's
Yeah.
no.
Okay.
You know what the figures are for the unspent money from the town, the fire department, the library, the offices? Do you have a figure on that?
I don't. Part of the reason is that there's still activity going on. So the departments were only able to, Mark knew that he would, at least, you only make an assignment request if you think your whole budget's gonna be on or under budgets. You wouldn't assign money that you already spent. So so whether the other departments are all overspent right now, I don't know that until we close out the year, really, because the money's in process.
So can this article wait till?
Table it and then
Till
till
we
we
find
get
out
the
what
money.
money-
The only way to assign is to assign before the end of the year. So ideally, what would happen is if you thought that line striping was needed, then you might want to do the town meeting thing.
Yeah,
But you have the audit benefit too of town
yeah,
meeting.
but what I don't know is the rest of the stuff.
Right.
No, but you know this piece. You can, you don't have to vote on it all, but when you have a piece you can vote on that, and the other stuff is,
Yeah, no, I see, part of the reason for the town meeting vote is that you have the audit showing you that you
Right.
had the money left over. So that's one of the benefits about a town meeting vote, is that you would close the year out. We keep the year open for 60 days. So it's hard to project exactly what you have on June 30th until you have the audit. So the assignments, like I said, generally are best done with that contractual commitment already done, that you've already committed to somebody else. The assignments based on a projected year end are less comfortable. Because you're like if Brad said, let's say you got $1,000 left in fast squad salary.
Like for
The whole-
radios,
the whole- yeah.
like for radios or something?
No, for salary.
Oh,
For fast squad. So he may say, well, yeah, we had less calls, so I have that money, I want to save it for next year's salaries. But he has another budget starting July 1 for salaries that's supposed to be
Replenished.
submitted.
Okay, my question is, Ron, is take the lines, $5,000 line
Right.
striping. Mark, he didn't save it because he didn't spend it, but you got $5,000 in there.
Unspent, yeah.
Can he use that $5,000 for small equipment if he needed it, or?
So you would approve any purchases that are in the budget. So you would be the one approving it. He would say, geez, I'm not gonna spend line striping, but I have an emergency need over here for culverts. I'm not gonna spend line striping, I wanna spend 5,000 more for culvert. You would approve
and then
that.
we'd have to tell him he could do
You
that.
have final say over the,
He can't move the money, nobody can move the money around like that.
So he can't move fuel money to line striping, line striping
no,
to small
he would do,
equipment?
No,
we
he
do
has to
that,
come to us.
we do that through the purchase order process, like you did tonight.
Right.
You didn't have all that money in culverts, but we didn't spend some in erosion control. But you, the board can move things like that, because you have control over 1.2 million or whatever the highway budget is. The voters give you direction of what you're supposed to be spending money on.
So a fire department, say you hit the fire department, just shooting numbers out there, he had a $25,000 budget. And he broke it down so much for firefighters, so much for radio, so much.
Right.
He's got to stay in those parameters of each one.
Yeah.
He just can't come in at the end of the year and say,
Robbie
okay,
from one to pay the
I
other.
spent 25,000.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't think of it-
he can,
But he has
but
to
he's
come-
gonna be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, so the voters give you direction by when you present them the budget,
Yeah,
Right,
you're giving the voters direction of what you're asking for.
right,
Okay.
saying
And
here's how
they
we're gonna
expect
spend
you
it.
to follow what you're asking. Now, during the year, who knows what could happen? Flood,
Yeah,
COVID-19.
again, it's, like the Halloween thing, you might
So
need
you
to,
would have
everybody move money.
justification for not
Right.
doing what they said or why you overspent something, and explain that at town meeting day typically.
so
Yeah.
$5,000
Could stay there for next year.
Could stay there for next year.
If you don't take, if you don't take any action tonight, and the money stays unspent tomorrow, for that $5,000, it gets pushed unassigned into the savings account.
So it's just in the savings account.
And then you can pull it out at town meeting day with an
To
article.
do anything we want with it.
That's
Well, we've
fine.
done that before, to renew.
Yes,
policies, we
exactly,
got
yes.
15,000 out
That's
of the
right,
sign.
exactly.
Yeah, that's the cleanest,
Exactly.
that's the cleanest process.
Right.
That's what we
And
do.
That's
right,
what
the
we
only
do.
thing that Mark had said is he knows he's got, there's 5,000 not, could he roll that forward to have 10,000 to spend next year and double stripe things?
Right.
That's just what Mark was asking for. So we can go ahead and assign that 5,000 that he's asked for, that he has left over in striping that was for this year, the next year to give him the $10,000 for striping. Or we can just go, well, you know, let's wait.
Let's roll it over.
Yeah, you wait till town meeting if you still
Right.
want to do it, and then
Right.
you do a spring painting instead of a fall painting.
Instead of a fall painting.
But it wouldn't be 10,000 next year, would it?
It's 5,000 every
It's
year.
5,000
5,000
every
every
year.
That's what budgeted every year is
Right.
5,000.
He hasn't spent his 5,000.
Yeah, but that
this year.
money's already approved by the taxpayers.
Yes,
But this year's coming, isn't it?
Right. So it cost him, so he budgeted 10,000, he's budgeted 5,000,
Every year, yeah.
and he didn't spend it.
correct.
So next year, he don't have to budget another 5,000, because he got the 5,000 he brought over.
If that's what you guys want,
Yeah,
board wants
if
to
that's
do.
what you wanna do.
You might get behind if you don't.
Right, but he
Listen.
hasn't done any striping this year, because all the striping he was gonna do in the village was all gonna be torn up.
So he won't get $10,000, he'll get $5,000.
Next year, because 5,000.
It would automatically be in there, right. But he now knows that he's behind in his striping because he hasn't done the village. Okay, and he knows when the village gets done, when we get done that work in the village, you're gonna wanna stripe the village. Right?
There's, no, the state does, the state does.
Will the
the
state gonna do the village?
Yeah, they do all the class twos too.
Okay,
Okay.
but if he didn't spend it, he's got it. So he don't need it again if he's already got
No, he
it.
loses it tomorrow. He loses 5,000
Yeah.
I
tomorrow.
understand that,
Yeah.
but he doesn't have to budget another 5,000 because he's got the 5,000.
The next budget that comes out, what he's saying, already has striping in it.
Right.
So he'll be getting money for that. And what he's saying is that there's 5,000 and there'll be another 5,000, so it'll be 10,000 next year for striping.
Right.
And he's wondering, do we need to have 10,000, will 5,000
Well,
be sufficient?
typically, yeah, so typically what happens, if you skip a year of your line striping, which is what we're talking about basically, you're gonna lose that paint. The paint doesn't last forever. So some roads will last fine, other ones will be gone. So in order to catch up, you might need, let's say, 8,000 next year. Just because other sections of road are so bad. Like we did Battle Road. When that new pavement goes on, you almost need to do a double layer because that first paint just disappears into the crevices of the pavement, and then you don't have the reflectivity. So ideally, when you do fresh pavement, you'd have two. So we skipped that this year. We might not have any line striping on Battle Row, and other sections are gonna take less. So it's a balancing act of $7,500 or $5,000 every year. And if you skip a year, you're pushing that work together. So it's not just a dollar number. If he gets lucky, I think this is what you're saying. If he gets lucky and he's able to just use 5,000 next year, which is already budgeted, he may be able to do every class 3 road perfectly well. I think what he's feeling is that that's not gonna get you a good product on every double yellow. He's gonna need more money to get to a good condition, because the year was skipped. So it's not a lot of money, you know what I mean?
No, but the figures just didn't add up. You got
No, it's a
5,000,
workload.
you get 5,000,
No.
10,000.
No, but when you skip, you lose your paint in the field. So it's harder to catch up to that if you're not putting it on every
It's like every year, a studded tire is going over and chipping away at it.
So, to end the conversation, you can't strike the whole town for $5,000.
Correct.
Not well. You could run I think you could probably run the road. I think we were looking at around
Okay,
6,000 to 7,000 to do a really good job, but you end up not hitting something twice when it should have hit twice. So if he's skipping a whole road, he might be able to get it done as best he can with 5,000 next year if you don't assign that. Or he'll say, "Oh, I did my best in the fall of 2020, I need another 5 from the voters to finish it the right way."
Or assign a portion of it to him, and
Right.
then the other portion of it goes to something, to the voters.
Or no, or just sits
Or
there.
just into the fund,
Or
right?
just stay there. So that's an option, Dave, to kind of split the difference. It's just,
No, I just have to get my mind on it.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, there's two parts to it.
I would say 2,500 gets moved over, and the other 25 is decided by the voters. That's what I'm.
Well, it just goes into our fund that we figure out, we recommend to the voters what to do with it. Right.
Exactly. And then everything's covered, then you have enough.
Yeah, that's right, it should be in good shape.
Yeah.
And then we're saving the town money.
Sounds good to me.
That's what I was hired for, I thought.
Well, we don't know that we're saving them money.
We're projecting.
We're
it.
not.
We're projecting it.
Yeah.
So I don't see Brad calling in to help with the dollar amount that he was thinking, so I can't help the board with what number he was thinking about assignments.
Okay, but what
So
will,
that was the extent of the assignments request.
okay, so, but with the assignments, then what we'll do is not the 5,000, but the 25 to striping and 25 into the
Well, just,
magic
it'll
pool.
go- you don't need to
the
do-
magic pool.
You don't need to deal with the second 2,500, just the first.
Right.
one.
Yeah.
So that'd be a motion.
Okay,
I move that we take 2,500 of the $5,000 that was budgeted for striping and move it to next year.
Second.
there we go. You got it, Dave?
I understand now.
Okay, good.
I understood from the beginning, I'm not sure you did.
I'll go with that. I frequently feel as though I don't understand, so I'm like,
No, I see where you're going.
all right, now we're going. Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I think we should all
Aye.
say no now as well. All opposed say nay. Anybody abstaining? Maybe I should abstain, but. Okay. Well, that was the only one we had. Traffic ordinances.
It's a little bit big for this meeting, but I just want to put on the table, we've gotten a few requests.
Yeah.
Maybe you've seen them in front porch forums for general speed control throughout the town, and it's not unusual to have springtime speeding complaints. A lot of times school gets out, this time of year, so kind of interesting timing considering school is already out, but maybe people are just feeling like
It's just
warm
springtime.
in summer and get
Yeah,
out
that's
in their
right.
cars.
It's just springtime.
And it does put people on the roads when it's warmer. So
Does everybody know about what happened up on Cricket Hill?
No.
There was that spot has been used tremendously up there, that the school owns up there, the.
But
The trails.
Yeah, the
Well, the
trails,
skate,
the
yeah.
trails
The
and stuff
trails,
there. There's been traffic in there all the time, and I'm really glad to see it. But, of course, as I've explained numerous years ago, that the traffic that comes through there flies through. And apparently a gentleman had his dog with him. My understanding from what I read was not on a leash, but yet a car hit his dog and just took off. And then I'm not really sure.
The dog took off too.
The dog took off,
Yeah,
and then
the
they
dog
couldn't
took
find him because it was injured or whatever. I still don't know, I haven't followed it to see if the dog had been found or not or anything like that. But it spurred a conversation on Front Porch Forum, and then there was some homemade signs put up there, about slowing down and just prior to that spot where the car's parked in there. And so, yeah, it's, that road is a shortcut for some, and some of them take full advantage of it. And like I said, that corner right there by Gingrich Road, our mailboxes have been knocked right out because they like to come up there and do the old Dukes of Hazzard thing and swing
Yeah,
right around
swing
that
right around the
corner.
corner,
And
yeah.
it takes out the mailboxes, and we're back there putting them together. Next time it's gonna be concrete.
But on these other roads, I think the reason we're getting so much request right now is because of the COVID. I've never seen so many people walking by my house.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, no, that's true, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's nothing to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lots more people on bikes and doing
Bikes
all
and
sorts
They
of
need
stuff like
activities
that.
for
Right.
the children and
Right,
stuff to do,
right,
because they're
right.
not
Well,
in school.
And it's springtime, and though, the weather finally really got nice.
Yep.
That's why with part of, and then because the homemade signs were put up in the right of way, and they needed to be taken down, and hearing from it, and things were starting to talk on Front Porch Forum. Ron and I talked and had him put it up and say, here's why we understand your concerns. Here's why the signs were taken down, because when things were in the right of way, we need to do that. We talked to the sheriff, asked who to do it. Of course, they said, people want more and more, and I said, let's talk about it, because everybody wants more patrol, and that would be fine if they want to pay more money.
Yeah.
Like we have, just to tell people but clear on Front Porch, we have X amount of money with the sheriff's department, and they can do X amount of time, and they're covering other towns as well. And everybody in town wants more enforcement on their roads. So unless you're willing to spend a significant more amount of money for the, with the sheriff's department to be able to have him put more people out on the roads, I mean, that's just the way it is.
I got a strange telephone call, and apparently the same person talked to Dave a while ago, and Dave told her to come to the select board meeting and discuss it. And I think because I'm traveling quite a bit that way to North Hyde Park, and just coming from Eden down through, the speed limit is 35 after the North Hyde Park fire station.
Okay.
Okay? I got thinking about that. I'm thinking, yeah, that is kind of stupid. Why don't they move the speed limit sign up above the fire station to slow the traffic down? Because the speed limit really don't start until it gets in the dip of the hill by Marvin Locke's old
But
apartments.
where's the village line?
Way back up towards La Rosa's.
Really?
Yeah.
It's up by La Rose?
Yeah.
There,
No,
right.
he
Because-
said village line, you're talking town line.
Village,
I'm talking to the town line.
He's
Yeah,
talking village line.
village.
I don't know where
The
the hell the village line
dictates
is, but
just like coming
it's all
down Route
town.
12 into-
You can move on a state road, if it's in the town, you can move a speed limit sign. And they're complaining coming out by Brent Lanfear's place there. And it wouldn't be hard, I think, if we did some research, that we could move that speed limit sign back towards Eden. So they would start slowing down before they got to the fire department.
Okay.
Because, them guys are trying to get out of there, and she's trying to get out of her road, and they come down around that corner, and 50 miles an hour, you're gaining
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's something we could look into for her, to see if we could slow the traffic down back up the road. And I think there'd be more money into it for speed traps, because I've seen the cops there half a dozen times the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, if it's right there where he sits at the fire station.
The speed
that's where
limit-
it exactly changes, right
Yeah.
there. If it's up,
Yeah.
like you said, up the road, it would give him or her a better advantage in a sense.
And even give the guys in the fire
I think
department.
he can shoot his radar up the road.
I can't believe nobody in the fire department's never complained about that.
But going back to Cricket Hill, and that's what I thought kind of the hot spot that was brought up by the community was, it is posted on both ends, 25 miles an hour. I gotta talk to Mark about, there's a vine growing up onto the 25 down by the school here where it come off, that'll have to get removed so it won't cover the sign up, but I'm wondering if we took those signs and moved them up a little bit, so once you come on to the road, then you can see it. Right now, it's right on the corner, so as soon as you come up, it's right on the corner. When you see it, both ends are close. I don't know what the posting specs are for, is it just as soon as you come on the road, or can you put it down, 50, 100 feet down the road, that type of thing?
Well, and then I also talked with Ron, since they're tearing up Church Street, when we've got the speed sign there, that tells you how fast you're going.
Yeah.
That's pretty worthless this summer and fall, since it's all gonna be torn up. If we could take that and move that to a place on Cricket Hill, closer down to the, maybe near the superintendent's office, so when people are tearing someplace down through there, that tells you how, look.
I didn't realize we posted that road at 25.
It is.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Down around that corner, down there by Mr. B's old place, that's all 25.
No, we're talking Cricket Hill.
The Cricket Hill is 25.
Yeah.
Not in the ordinance.
Huh?
Not in the ordinance.
What is it in
No,
the
it
ordinance?
ain't. Because I'll tell you why, because I'll tell you why, because I had to go down there one time with a step ladder and put a plastic bag over that sign, you remember that, Ron?
Yeah, yeah.
Posted 25. That road is not 25 miles an hour.
Based on the ordinance or based on what the sign says?
The state put 50s up, and we got a bunch of complaints.
Then you put the bag over.
Then you put the
Okay, I
back on.
remember getting up there and putting the bag
Yeah.
down.
But it was at 50, not 25.
Yeah, we got a lot of complaints for 50, and we got a lot of complaints for 25. So the
Okay.
resolution, the resolution the board came up with was to do a traffic study and settle it. And the state did the caution signs and the S-curves,
Yeah.
and
The
Chevron
arrows,
arrows,
yeah.
but the town didn't put the number in the ordinance yet. So it has to be set at something.
That was
25.
10 years ago or 9 years ago.
No, it was 2018. Yeah.
I tell you what, if you're going around to where you're going to your place 25 miles an hour, you're cruising.
Oh, yeah, yeah, definitely. And
Yeah.
then, like I said, I've always, and I put a complaint in that, trying to cut from, if you're coming off from Battle Row, and you're trying to cut across that road, even at 25 coming up around it, you can't see the car coming. So basically, when I leave, I go out Battle Row, and I come back in off from 100, down to the school and come back into there because it's safer for me to try to cut across. I have come up there and literally stop and try to cut across and have people come around there. And and all my neighbors have said the same thing. They've had close calls right there. And again, like I said, some of the people that come up through there, they like to come around that corner's so
Right,
sharp, that they
right.
like to come around it and just spread the old stone right out and have knocked out our mailboxes before.
And without leaping to assumptions, I bet a lot of them are young males that are doing that.
It would be an assumption.
Yeah. I don't think there are many there aren't many young women that drive like that. No, I don't mind, it's like, I watch them and go, whoo, because I see them coming on and go, oh.
Another thing
There's a problem.
That's
Another thing I
right.
could say on that,
Boy.
after my mailbox got hit a couple times, I'd move it somewhere else.
But do we want to see about, let's see, so,
Traffic study for Cricket Hill needs to be done.
okay, so we need to do a new traffic study for Cricket Hill? Okay.
First one.
Okay, first one. We didn't ever do the first one, okay. So we do a traffic study, and then we can see about moving that sign, thinking where it
Yeah, it's a
would be a
letter
safe
from
place.
you should be authorized to send a letter to the state traffic safety division for a study, because they don't do anything without their own
Okay.
traffic study.
Okay,
But you have to request a location, so you'd say Budget Drive, move that 35 on 100 South to Budget Drive, above the fire station.
Yeah.
Oh, above the fire station, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what the road, probably 500-600 feet.
North of the fire station,
Yeah,
so 500 feet north of the,
yeah.
the
That
fire
would,
station.
that
yeah,
would give
that's the kind of
them,
thing that they would need in the letter.
Well, where's the town line?
Right there, in Wade Rose, it's
Yeah.
this side.
So what
Yes.
we're supposed, well,
It's too far, it's
That's
too far,
too far.
I got to think
it's
of
the north end of the guard building, which is
Yeah.
probably another
Yeah,
2,000 feet or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
It's up
that's,
there.
Yeah, it's too
you know,
far.
and I'm surprised that the guys on the fire department never said nothing about it. I never, it never dawned on me until I got a phone call from her. You know who it is.
Be good to get a letter from them.
She said
North
something to you,
Martin.
you told her to come to select.
North Martin.
Sure, okay.
So
So
500 feet,
we need the Cricket Hill study, we
is it
need to move the sign.
500-600 feet,
but it's gonna be a
Thank you.
study, so we're gonna
That's
go
just,
based on the
that's a
study.
letter and a wait
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
fire.
Okay.
for the-
I'm talking about, what's the name of that road where Brent lives?
Mudgett Hill.
Budget.
Budget
Okay,
Drive.
500 feet above that.
Okay, yeah, that would make sense to me.
Yeah.
But where it is now and where it would be just beyond the fire, up on the other side of the fire.
500 feet from Budget Road. Up the road.
Yeah.
North.
Okay, you got what we're asking for, Ron?
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay, but then we have other things that, there's let's see, Battle Row is posted at 35, but it's listed as 25 in the ordinance.
So should we change the,
That's what we got, Ferry Street's listed at 35, but isn't in the ordinance. Trombley Hill Road is unposted, not in the ordinance.
I was just collecting some comments over the last 2 years since you did the
Right,
last revision.
that's when we did
So
it.
did they ever find it out?
I don't know, I didn't, I haven't read all, I tried to read them, but I didn't see it, let's put it that way. I've probably seen, some of them I just read the first part of it, that type of thing.
Yeah, so if you wanted to start a traffic ordinance revision,
Yeah,
I would just bring a draft of a strike version so you can look at the whole thing
Okay.
at once with
And look at the
those,
map with
with
it,
those
right.
notes
Yeah.
added.
Okay.
Unless you had other roads you wanted to add now that I can put into the draft.
okay,
It does come with a sign bill that we've been finding out from 2018.
right,
There's a cost to
yes.
establishing speed limits.
Okay, is that all we need to do with the traffic ordinances right now? I
Yeah,
think?
that's
Yeah,
it.
okay,
But let me know in the next week or so if you have any other roads that want to be at least listed as
okay.
discussion items.
I did follow up with Robert Stevens too, on his,
Oh, good.
yeah, I sent him an email myself.
The annual employees' wages, do we want to talk about this now, or does that need to be after we talk about the union contract?
It doesn't need to be any time.
That's just what we put in the budget.
Yeah, so it's what you put in the budget, it's the 3%. The union contract for highway is controlled by that contract, and that's not resolved, so that would just be a deferred item for those 3 people.
Okay.
The rest of the employees have completed their reviews, at least the drafter reviews. So the reviews are being reviewed. So it's not,
Right, okay,
they're
yeah.
not done, but
No, I got 'em.
they're due tomorrow if anybody did finish it. So that was a new thing added this year, so that was a good exercise, I think, for everybody. So Allison needs to make some adjustments to keep on track with the payroll system. That's why it's on the agenda for tonight. She'll have to do a
Gotcha,
retroactive on the highway department when that issues, when the union contract is settled.
Okay. We need a motion on that? Just a moment. Yeah, we do.
Yes.
We do. We need a motion on the 3% annual increase, which was budgeted.
What's the cost of living rate this year?
Oh, I think it was like back when you put the 3%, it was down to 2.4 maybe, the last number I saw. It's changed, I don't know if it's gone up or down, I can look real quick and see what it is today, but we don't usually ask for that.
So how do we proceed with that if the union has
Yeah.
negotiated the amount? I'm confused with that. We can't approve something that's not,
You would defer
you
you
defer.
We defer the union part, but we can do everybody else.
Yeah, and then we'll do retroactive vote of sorts to whatever date the new rates start. So in the contract, it'll say this is effective back to July
Yeah.
1st, more than likely, so there'll be some retroactive.
If it's that amount.
Yeah, it's set at 2%, but I mean, actually, you won't take any action on highway, totally deferred.
Defer.
Whatever they're getting paid now, they get paid first week of July. Then you'll make retroactive adjustments based on whatever the outcome of the.
I'd like to wait on this and then we can discuss it and.
Well, how about everybody else?
What's that?
Why to make everybody else wait for the union?
What I'm trying to say is that, we go into executive session, discuss it, and then come out and make a motion at that time.
For everybody's pay? You're proposing, not just the union?
What's that?
See, we're talking about Kim's pay and.
Yeah,
and-
we're talking about
and
everybody's pay.
Library's pay and stuff.
Okay, so, and what they're proposing is that we raise it 3%.
That's what it is, 3%
In the
for town
budget.
employees.
In the budget for 3%.
With
Yeah, for town
everything but-
employees,
but
right.
the town highway,
Except the town
which is
highway.
deferred right now.
And if a town highway doesn't get 3%,
They're on their own schedule.
Well, right now they're,
Has no bearing on
Right.
the rest of them.
right,
okay.
right, it's just not to tie everybody to them.
Yeah,
That's
In
what I
case
was,
they
that's
take
what I was
forever.
wondering, if it
Right.
would somehow tie everybody to.
yeah,
Right.
union
To
and
them.
non-union are totally different.
Right.
Okay.
Can be treated totally different. They are treated totally different. The union contract is different things for them than. the rest of the-
Yep.
Right, so a
Independent.
motion did, I don't see technically the motions for the,
Does that include the fire department and fast squad, or? I mean, it hasn't passed, I'm just.
You've asked for, fast squad is set at a set rate of whatever, it's been $11 for, I think it's $11 for a couple of years, there's no proposal to change that. You guys have something on the table that we treat separately after they do the rest.
Say that again, I got the first part.
You have a proposal on the table
right,
from October. They dealt with part of it last week, 15th, and they voted down the second part on the 15th, which will be dealt with separate from what they're talking about now. They're talking about everybody else except for fire. Fast squad does not propose to change, that's gonna be flatline. The other flatline as listers.
right,
They get 14. The other flat line, I'm using that
We're-
term out, is the highway operators that you voted last time, it's
right.
16 and
16
17.
and 17, right,
So if you
we're
say,
flatlined,
the 3% number is already set in the budget and programmed for those people, that's the one we'll pull out for the memo.
I guess the budget, the motion is, everybody gets the 3%, set the highway until that's the result.
yeah,
Except for highway and fire, which is a separate motion.
Fire,
Right.
highway and fire.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. You have, he's pondering,
No, that's what was voted on by the,
Yeah,
taxpayers.
yeah, right, that's
Right.
a better way to say it, because the money for that 3% is already in the budget for those positions.
right,
The way I described it, with some set, some are subject to 3%. You're talking about deferring highway and fire tonight on this motion. Then you have a second motion to deal with, hopefully with fire.
right,
And you're not including highway because it's still pending negotiation.
correct,
You will eventually.
okay,
It's on a totally different schedule.
right, that's so weird. Okay,
So
okay. Got a second?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it's sort of clear, all right, we got it. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? Okay. Now, fire. I thought we took care of fire.
Yeah.
We did, but but after they found out that North Hyde Park was,
yeah.
the
Did you
chief,
get your
the
email?
assistant chief was the same money, and they don't have cadets, and we do, or we got
Yeah.
cadets and they don't, or something.
And we give them the same pay that North Hyde Park got.
Yeah.
But North Hyde Park and Hyde Park don't have the same officers and same stuff going on. I guess Eddie can explain that. Or Ron.
Okay,
What would you like me to explain?
well, let me see. So we agreed to pay you what North Hyde Park was being paid, and North Hyde Park pays the chief and the assistant chief the same amount, right?
Right,
Right. And that's okay with you?
But your assistant chief don't get what you get, right?
they will under what you voted for last month.
Yeah, well, because they agreed that to do this is the same, so if that's okay, that's what we're doing. Then the other is, you have cadets and they don't. Correct?
Well, under the new job descriptions that you accepted here a few months ago, we have what we call a senior firefighter, and then we have a firefighter. And a senior firefighter is basically one that's been there for so many years and has so much training.
And they're also able to do, command, take over command if for some reason there is an officer there, or there's not enough officers or whatever. A firefighter is a new person that's just come in off the streets. And the way North Hyde Park pays is, it doesn't matter if you've been there, firefighter, for 20 years, or if you've been there for 20 days, you're getting the same amount of pay.
Oh, okay. Okay, so what would you like to?
Well, what we had, the way I understood it from what Brent told us the other night, the two chiefs get 14, captain gets 1350, lieutenant gets, lieutenant gets 1250. We proposed that the senior firefighters get 12. Two firefighters get 1150, and any cadets that come on get 11. And currently we have no cadets on the program. And cadets are people 16 to 18 who are limited on what they can do.
Right, legally, yeah, okay. Okay, so does that work?
Well, that's what we discussed anyway, right?
We voted
Yeah.
on
It worked for me,
Yeah, okay.
that's what we voted on that last time.
That's what I thought we did too, but I'm going, so did we or didn't we? Okay.
Well, that's what I thought, but then Ron and I have been
Back and forth, okay.
texting back and forth, and I just, the reason being is I've got to make changes in the computer to upgrade my payroll.
Right,
And Ally's
okay.
gonna have time to make her changes and
Yeah,
stuff.
okay.
Chief, did you send me that in writing already? I think you might have. An email or something?
Yeah, I think they,
I just want to make sure I get it in writing if it's, so we can have that. I'm trying to remember all that.
would have been shortly after their last meeting, which was
Yeah.
the 15th or something.
I remember you, yeah, I remember you. So here's the pay scale as I understand it from Monday's meeting, which matches North Hyde Parks. The only addition is that we have a probationary cadet level, which they do not.
Okay.
So the chiefs, both departments would make 14. Right now, Brad is assistant chief at 50 cents less.
Yeah, approximately.
Yeah. So I just want to, just because we want to make sure we get this right. If you're matching North Hyde Park Eden, you and Brad get paid the same. Is that what the board wants?
So, is it, should I say this?
No, is that okay?
Can we just do a little bit different for Eddie and raise him up a little bit?
Well, that's what he originally proposed back in October. So what the board said on the 15th of June was match North Hyde Park, so we don't have to talk about differences of positions.
Well,
I'm just saying, we started there, Roland, you know, so.
okay,
And then you mentioned that it was gonna be, well, then North Hyde Park will wanna match up with Hyde Park, and it would be.
Right, so the board's
Well, you
decision was,
could-
can we just make them the same and then we don't have to talk about this anymore? I think
Right,
that's
if
where.
we make them the same, but then we didn't want to go, we could as a town, okay, and a different way to looking at it, the town could do stipends to the fire department, okay? We as a town could say, we know a chief has to do a lot more time, so here's a I mean, again, it's like Whoopi, we get $750 a year for all the hours we put in. It's really, it's a token, you know, but it's a little bit more of a token if you want to do that. And to me, to some extent with stipends, if they're coming from the town, then it's clear it's the town saying thank you as well, as opposed to just, you know, the fire department saying thank you to the fire department sort of a thing. And then if sometime North Hyde Park decides they want in this, that you can do the same sort of thing. Instead of if we raise ed, then we're out of, again, what we were trying to do was have them, I thought everybody would, trying to get everybody being paid the same. They've got some different classifications, so that's
So
different.
let's stay on track and we'll look at it another year.
Yeah, okay.
Now, I'm gonna bring this up in new business, but this might be a good time to do it. Is last week or 2 weeks ago, you know, difference, I took a cruiser up there at Williams and we were sitting on the picnic table for a couple of hours just shooting the shit and we were talking about different things and the fire department come up and I said to, you know, Eric, that a fire department used to be a fire department. Now fire department is everything to everybody. They car accidents and lift assist and stuff. And Eric's the one brought it up after he says, does insurance pay for cleanup? I said, that is a hell of a good point. I said, let me follow up on that. So I stopped down to SR Miller and I talked to the lady that was in charge down there. And I asked him, I says, do insurance policy pay for a cleanup?
A cleanup being
After an accident.
after an accident.
Or fire department.
The taxpayers of Hyde Park pay for the fire department.
Right.
Somebody wheeling down here from Orange and somebody from Barton and they collide.
Yeah.
We pay to clean it up.
Okay.
And she says, let me find out for you. She called me back and she said, yes. She says, where it's fuzzy, they said they don't want to pay twice because they pay the tow truck operators for cleanup. Well, tow truck officers aren't necessarily doing 100% of the cleanup of the end. And I said to them, I said, no, I said, I'm talking about if they have an accident and that they rupture an oil pan or a gas tank or something. I said, we gotta flush it down, we gotta clean the roads and stuff. And she says, yeah, she says, submit the policy. I submit the bill. She says they will review it to make sure they're not paying twice for tow truck driver cleanup or fire truck cleanup. And she says that very well could be paid for. So I'm saying, why don't you take that money? And this is just a suggestion. 25% of it goes to the fire department budget to help them out, and 25% of it goes to the stipend fund.
That's a good idea. I mean, I almost think when I was in the fire department, that something like that years ago come up. Do you remember?
Yeah, we tried billing years ago and never got anything from it. The only time that we can bill and get anything is if it involves a hazardous material. For instance, years ago, one of the contractors for then Sweet Burke rolled over down here by the VFW.
Mm-hmm.
And their insurance picked up all the costs of the two departments being down there and doing the cleanup work and stuff.
So you're saying antifreeze is not considered hazardous material now?
We're talking more of a commercial.
I'm talking more about automobile where you can,
Yeah, just a regular sort of
where
thing,
you can
right.
bill them for $200-300.
Sweep up the glass.
I mean, I'm just going by what happened years ago.
Yeah.
We tried it and sent bills out, never got anything back.
Yeah.
Well, and it's, you know, it's interesting, and it might be more effective to have the town bill.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because we're paying for the fire
That's
department,
right.
so instead of
That's right.
having.
It may be upstairs that is.
Yeah, you know, to have, when you have something like that, figure out the hours and give us the invoices and stuff. And have the town submit a bill to the insurance company for the cleanup costs.
Yeah. Because she said to me, she said, if that was your house, she said they would pay for cleanup.
Yeah, sure, right.
And like I'm saying,
It's a good point.
It's a good, well, it's a good thought. This is the under nothing ventured, nothing
right,
gained.
and like I say, if two people from non-Hyde Parkians come in and have a misfortune here,
Well, it doesn't matter who does it.
right? We pay it.
It doesn't matter whether it's Hyde Park or from where they are. Yeah.
It's worth the try. It looks like money to me.
Yeah, well, let's try a couple of them and see what happens. And we'll have
I
the
think
town,
you're-
we'll have the town submit the
Right.
bill so that, Ed, all you guys are having to submit to, you know, to
Same
the
thing they
office
usually
is
do.
it's what you usually do, and we'll have,
I don't have to do it.
that's exactly, that's where we're going, that's
Yeah.
have Ally start submitting it and see what happens.
We get nothing, you ain't no farther behind, right?
No, that's right, little bit of time, but we'll see what happens. That's a good idea, okay. So now, so we got the fire department wages set, right?
Yep.
We're okay. God. Okay? Anything else, Ed? We're good?
No, I just wanted to get it clear.
But I got one thing to say, as long as Eddie's right here. On that money that you got donated for that paint sprayer, or what you call a Cobra 19 cleanup deal, the select board never said no on that the other night, because we were talking about it, and then you come across and said that was all taken care of when we started talking about it, and you said there was a donation to come in, but the board never said no on that.
It was flagged because of
I never said that you did say no.
Well, there is people out there saying that, because it come to me. It's been on not front porch forum, Facebook.
social media.
So I think people ought to get things straight before they
Before they
start.
put them on
But we're not saying
Facebook,
that
good
it
luck.
came- no, We're
Yeah,
not saying
no.
it came from you, we're just trying to get things,
No.
the air cleared on it, because it is out there, and we're absolutely not saying it came from you.
I know it didn't come from you, and I know it, where it did come from. But I think people ought to get their story straight, because the board never said no to you guys.
Right, I know the board didn't say no.
Okay.
I know you had a question on it.
Right.
And all I know is I got a call from Alan, who said he was going to give us the amount he did for the sprayer. And the next thing I know, there was an article in the paper saying, you know, that he had made the donation, which I thought was nice.
Yeah.
And there was some stuff on Facebook that, again, I can't control.
Well,
what people put on Facebook. 'Cause it's-
I know it, I
We said
understand it,
We
but
said it.
If you watch Facebook, there's a lot of stuff.
No, I don't.
Nowhere near true.
I don't, people come to me and ask me that, and I don't have,
Canceled Facebook a lot of years ago.
yeah, I can't tell you what I think of Facebook, and the people that put stuff on it, that don't get the facts in.
I agree on some of that, yeah.
Okay, well, as long as Ed knows and we got here, public
No,
people
I
wanna know,
just-
but you're right. Hey, listen, when you got people like Starbucks and that are going to they are going to stop supporting Facebook, you know Facebook's got a lot of serious problems.
Well,
Yeah,
it's just,
turned into too
it's
much of a
just
little
bad,
gossipy bad stuff.
you know,
Yeah.
stuff, because people don't get the whole story right.
No. Doesn't matter whether you're in Hyde Park, Vermont, or Washington DC, it's all
Absolutely.
the same.
There are all sorts of people out there.
People happy to gallop out there. Now we know what we know. That's right. Okay.
Alrighty.
All right.
Thanks,
We thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Okay. The Finance Committee mission statement, which was there, and I read it. And we got Gary and Norm are willing to stay put and continue to help sort of advising, which would be really helpful as we get further down the road with all our questions about, you know, paving and trying to come up with a plan. This would be the group that could help us come up with some, look and say, okay, here's what makes sense, here are some options. And this is just that we sort of had them informally around for a while, and they were very helpful with Kim when we were looking for some advice and some structure. That was probably a couple of years ago. And they're willing to do it, and it was in the packet. I didn't bother to, there, if I had my tablet, I'd be reading it.
Oh,
That's okay.
that's good.
I didn't print it out though.
Who's doing it, Sue?
Gary Anderson and Norm Andrews worked with, and one other with Kim and somebody else. Anyway.
Well, a mission statement, it just basically outlines the goals that Susan was talking about, but the main reason to approve it is to get it out in the front porch forum and try to get a couple more people to join. And then Allison and I and Kim would meet with this group to look at all these issues that you started talking about earlier, like Susan said, but also to sort of watch things too, because some of the legislation coming out, could affect how we borrow or whatever. That
Well, yeah.
you sort of have to have a kind of an eye on that stuff a little bit, especially this time of year when the legislature's.
Well, that's right, or you
Just
never
be good
know
to be
when somebody
aware.
that keeps an eye on it, hey, here's a great opportunity to refinance or do this, or you might want to think about this, or there's some money over here you haven't even thought about applying for that's coming out. Just to have some folks that are really into money and think about that sort of stuff and have fun doing it.
Have fun.
Yeah, I know it. People actually have fun doing that. Some people have fun reading budgets, like, ooh, okay.
We're lucky we got those guys in town.
Yeah, no, and they're happy to do it. So I
Yeah.
thought if we just sort of officially, adopt a mission statement for them, and then we'll let them know, and here we have it, and see if there's some other folks in town.
Yep.
There are actually a couple of other folks on some that I've been doing a little talking to see if they're interested in. Well, and one of the things that'll be interesting, as we start looking at this fiber network, having some folks that are really into money and understanding it, because that potentially is going to be,
Right.
that's going to be a lot of opportunity, but a lot of money, and to get into some pretty complex stuff pretty fast. So having some folks in Hyde Park that have indicated an interest in that kind of stuff, and we can talk to about keeping an eye on that sort of stuff, I think will just be good to have them sort of tapped up there and looking at things once in a while.
Yeah.
That's great. So I guess we need a motion to accept the mission statement.
So,
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? Okay. Totally separate. So do we have an update on Roger?
You do?
No, do we?
No, I called him this afternoon.
Yeah, I did.
No answer at home.
Okay,
I called,
He might be coming home today.
today, okay, yeah.
but I did get a phone call, he come through it good.
Yeah.
And everything like that, so he was doing good, but as Dave said.
No, I did talk to his sister. His sister's my aunt, Noel.
Okay.
And,
They're all really,
it's Hyde Park.
I'm telling you, it is.
said he was doing well.
Yeah. I thought once he got home, once and he knows he's there, I'll go to Peck's and pick up some flowers and take up some nice flowers, because I get twice as many flowers if I pick them up myself and drive them up there as paying Peg to deliver them, but just sort of let him home and get settled, because as I say, it's like he's got to stay in 16 weeks.
Yeah.
Whew. I'm going to test anybody. But then, so I assume by the next time we meet, he'll be feeling a little perkier, and we'll get him on the phone.
Yeah,
And then when he's feeling better, he'll start.
let's hope so.
We can help his blood pressure by getting.
Well, it wasn't
a
so
tablet.
bad as they thought it was gonna be once I got in there either.
Oh, that's good.
It was
That's
better
good.
than.
No one exploded as much.
Yeah, that's right.
Good.
It's pretty amazing though how routine that surgery is.
Oh.
It is.
That it,
They do well.
Yeah.
Handful of them a day.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Well, see, we were talking about North Hyde Park. That's what got me there. The letter of intent to enter a lease agreement with the old hotel parcel,
With the old what?
the old hotel parking lease,
Right next to the
right next
Grange,
to the Grange.
so it faces Grange off the left-hand
They
side.
want to leave the parking lot for the range hall.
The way that laid out, so the lease, does it For what's
got
in the
that.
red, or is it what's in the green?
The green.
So what's the benefit of that little strip in there? I'm just curious.
How much do they want for a lease?
Strip to the Route 100.
Like a
No.
dollar or something?
Yeah, how much,
Yes, I'm sorry, yes,
Yes.
strip to, yeah, that's just, okay, it's just an
It's a
access
driveway,
way.
yeah.
Okay, so that's where the fuel pumps were, it would be going over that area, okay, yeah, I was
okay.
looking at it back.
How much do they want for the lease?
That's up for discussion. The last time we had any conversation with the landowner was over a year ago, and that was through Al Spitzer,
Yeah.
who was more or less looking for plowing of the lot, because it would be their lot if the Grange wasn't, using it. And that would be expensive, that's an ad that we don't have right now. So that, depending on the Grange, I don't know what the Grange operation's gonna be. It might be closed when it's snowing. So what, do we plow the person's driveway even if the Grange doesn't need the space?
They were talking about putting heat in, right?
Yeah.
They've upgraded the windows.
Well, they're
No.
planning on a lot of things over there.
Yeah.
But one of them was what to do about the 9-month season,
Yeah,
Right,
with not the 12
I
months.
guess,
So-
I guess the thing would be to discuss how much it was gonna be.
Yeah, you can't, I ain't gonna go, nothing, I don't know what the price is.
Me neither.
No, that's what the idea is, that the LOI or letter of intent needs to have some interaction with the landowner and get that resolved. So if there's a board member that's willing to go meet with Bobby Joe and whoever else she wants to bring, that would kind of just be the only thing on the agenda for tonight. If the board doesn't want to do the LOI or do anything, sort of the interim agreement, then I need an answer of whether you want to proceed with the final phases of the brownfield work, because we're paying for that.
so for this here, the lease, does it has any contingency on what's being done at the Grange Hall?
Part of the use of the Grange is facilitated by having nearby parking, because there is no Grange.
So
How
they
many
need-
cars we talking, that's gonna hold?
Not that many, it's probably 8 to 10, depending on how you park.
that's on the,
It's not a very big space.
To the left of the Grange that you're facing,
To the right of the Grange.
to the right, yes.
I was gonna say.
Again, I got it backwards on here.
The uphill side of
Right
the
behind you,
range,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
You might be able to get more in if you use the entrance and have like, a couple cars
Okay.
parked on the beginning of the driveway.
Bullard's Mill. in
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Have that.
You go down between Bullard Mill and whatchamacallit's old garage.
But the old garage is where you'd be going in, where the gas pumps were,
Well, that's gone now.
No, it's right next to the Grange,
right next
right
to it.
next to the Grange, here's Grange Hall.
And then there's the old hotel right there,
Bullard's right
yeah,
there.
and then right next to that.
The old hotel.
See the old hotel right
Yeah,
there?
it's yellow, I think it is.
Yeah, the old hotel is,
Got a big porch on the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is their backyard, basically.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess I gotta be more interested on facts and figures.
yeah, me too.
Well, that's what the question is, because we haven't gotten that far yet, but it's a time to do it, because the more time and effort we put into the brownfield work, eventually that work's gonna be done, and we won't have this answer, these details that Dave just mentioned. So the suggestion for the LOI is to do the details now before we put any more money into brownfield.
right. So the letter of intent is just to take the next step forward. It's not committing
Okay.
us.
We're not
It's just that we're,
No, not committed.
yeah, yeah,
That's what it says, it's
Yeah.
interest.
yeah. It's a letter of interest.
Yeah,
We're
it's really
just-
the
yeah,
board's responsibility at this point. The committee did the initial, hey, we're thinking about this, da, da, da. Oh, we got a brownfield issue. We'll do that if you're willing to lease that backyard. And now we're at
Right.
a point where we're almost finishing it, and we don't have anything current from the landlord.
Right, so we gotta find.
They may have changed their
Look
mind,
into it,
and then we
right?
can stop doing the
It won't
project.
hurt to look into it.
No, gotta look
Exactly,
into it.
exactly.
But is there one
This
board
isn't-
member that wants to meet with Bobby Joe just to talk about some of these
You know what?
details?
I don't know her.
I don't know. I guess I can get.
Maggie Stewart has to sign off too, because she's the mortgage holder.
Yeah.
Anybody know
Do
Maggie?
you have a contact for her?
I can get you all
Okay.
that. Yeah.
You can send it to me.
Yeah, probably a joint meeting with Maggie and Bobby Joe would
Okay.
probably be best, because they both have to sign the LOI,
Okay.
or they don't have to, but they're being asked to.
Now,
Yeah, okay.
where did Bobby Joe live? Does she live there?
She lives there.
Oh, she lives
You know,
there.
Maggie lives up in North Hyde Park over there.
Yeah, I know where Maggie lives.
Bobby Joe bought that from Maggie?
Yeah. Owner finance type of thing, yeah. Or a seller finance.
Yeah, send the information to me and I'll
Okay,
come up with something
Okay.
next board meeting.
okay, thanks. God, that when you're looking at it, the house that's right next to it on the left.
Yeah, that's the red house.
Yeah,
That's the one that's,
Ron will give me some information, I'll
it's a zombie
contact
house.
her with a
yeah,
phone or something.
yeah, that's a hat that, yeah, okay. Okay, so I guess we need a motion for us to go ahead and proceed, have
Let's have
Have
Roland.
Roland-
Roland agreed to go meet
Roland.
with the landowner.
Right.
It does have to be a motion.
Okay, all right. We'll see what happens next.
Yeah. Dave, interesting CPI information. It's all over the place. So I'm looking back at 2018 to the end of, almost all of 2018, it was plus or minus 2.5 cost of living.
Yeah.
Or consumer price index, actually. And it dropped late 2019. Then it went back up to 2.5 in January of 2020. And that's about the time we were doing a budget.
Yeah.
And then since the COVID outbreak, it's dropped to almost zero in the last month. So most of that was fuel prices and other things. Food's gone up, fuel came down, but overall fuel had a bit bigger drop in the
Well,
last.
nobody's spending any money because there's nothing to spend it on.
So anyway, I expect the typical CPI goes like this all year. And I don't know what it'll be for the whole FY21, but right now it's pretty
This isn't
low.
but last month, consumer spending went up. So people are definitely,
Yeah, that should force prices eventually. Right now it's,
yeah.
Still spending on stimulus.
yeah, May was 0.1.
Yeah. Okay, the only thing I had down here, the social media policy discussion and review, is just for us to start thinking about it because we don't have a policy and have watched Morristown and some other neighbors get into interesting situations because of town employees who get blathering away on, on social media about something that they don't have any business blathering away about. And so to have some kind of a policy in place just makes sense. And the league has put out, Ron sent me some stuff, he can resend it to people. Put out, so just sort of some guidelines, just so you got a basic policy. So if it almost seems inevitable that we're gonna end up in that situation. Every community is somewhere along the line ending up in that kind of a situation.
So what,
Won't be me, I don't know if Facebook isn't.
what happens then?
Well, that you have a policy, that's your choice. If you get, if we were talking about the shelter in town and the town employees started bad mouthing people that were poor.
Good idea.
Then you say, okay, here's what's going to happen. First of all, it's not accepted and you're not to do it. And if you do it, here's a warning, and after that you can be in
Like
there
the phone call you made me one day.
Yeah. Just like, yo.
Yeah.
I can get you off Facebook.
No, I
That's a
think
good
it's-
idea.
Yeah,
When you're disciplining people, it's a warning, a write-up, and dismissal.
yeah, that's the pretty normal procedures for going. And again, Ron sent me, and you can send it again, so as usual, the league has, and what other, a couple of smaller communities have done,
There's
just
a
to
lot,
have a
there's a lot of
policy.
people doing the same thing.
Yeah, just
Good
go
idea.
over, just makes sense. Let's get one in place before we end up with a situation going, duh, I wish there was something I can do, and we can't really because we don't have a policy.
I'll go along with that. You need a motion?
Well, or let's just,
No,
well,
get a
he'll
packet for you.
just send you a couple of copies, and then we can, like, at the next meeting, say, okay, this what's works, let's just use this. A couple of them I looked at, I'd be pretty comfortable just going, yeah, this definitely works.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be anything fancy, anything complicated, but we've got something in the policy that says, here's
Perfect.
what we need to do. One of the things that we've sort of realized, we end up with the town policy book and its pages, and who the heck ever reads it, includes, our employees, and what are sort of 5 key policies that everybody should know that we have, and if you spend more than X amount of money, it's gotta come to the select board before you can go ahead and, and do it. And just a few things like that that are real clear that if everybody is aware of, we'll avoid some of the mistakes and the hassles that we've gotten into just because we can have all the policies we want, but if we don't know they exist, and even if we aren't paying any attention to them, it doesn't do any good, so.
But I'm just gonna bring up something, Sue, and it's just gonna put a wrench in the fire, ain't going on fire, 'cause but I was told when I got on the select board, from 6 o'clock, and you drop that gavel until we say, no, we're done, you drop that gavel, we're town employees. You walk out that door, we're taxpayers. So if I wanted to say, and I don't, I'm not on
No,
Facebook,
no, no,
I'm
no,
not
no, no,
talking
right,
around.
no, no,
If I
no, I
wanted
don't
to say that I didn't agree with something negatively where it could be taken the wrong way.
Yeah.
On some of my time, on my computer, not the town tablet, or the town computer, or the town website, if I'm on my personal, the Constitution of the United States tells me I can write anything I want.
But then it can be argued because of the influence.
Yeah, I think the social media policy would get into that a little bit. You can have violations of code of conduct, which is what you're talking about as being how the town could get involved with your private
Right.
business. So we have to be really careful about that. So if you're out there saying things that are true, generally as a private person, those are protected.
Yeah.
If you're saying stuff that's false, is not always protected.
Yeah.
So there are some
Right.
There's
there are some
tons of
finer
gray
lines
area.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
There's some
Well,
finer lines.
well, and again, when as an elected official, and it's into, when it's your opinion, okay, and what you feel, well, and that's where, I mean, lots of boards have codes of conduct.
Yeah.
So that, and that doesn't hurt to have something drafted up like that for a select board. Which I would say, I think I wouldn't feel bad asking the fire department and people like that to, to say that you come under
To
this
sign
as
on
well.
and stuff.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I'm just
which
shut
is
that
just
up.
basically it isn't anything,
They were-
terribly legal and binding, but it's basically you're gonna be a decent human being and you're gonna think before you speak.
And are we definitely gonna get the tablets? Is that gone through, or?
Yep, well, the trial one has started, so
Yeah.
Allison's working with IT person now to try to get ready for Roger when he's ready.
Okay, so.
Yeah.
I would incorporate it with this, with your tablet, that your tablet is, again, just talking.
Just town business.
Am I gonna be able to take that tablet and go on, Gabello's? See what's on sale there?
Yeah, so the program, we're calling it the iPad program, which will have rules and regulations and guidance and all that stuff, they'll address that. So basically, if you have access to the internet, you're paying for the access to the internet. The town's not gonna pay that. The device is meant for town business. But from a practical perspective, you may have a perfectly logical reason to start looking at other websites for your own research on town stuff. Other towns, other vendors,
Yeah.
culvert suppliers, you may be all over the place.
Right.
So for the town to actually enforce something, all we can do is say, this is intended for town business. We don't have any way to enforce that, because we're not gonna monitor your usage. We will monitor what goes on the computer for apps. And we do monitor for viruses. So our outside consultant, which is Tech Group, monitors all town devices, whether it's the iPad at the house, or whether it's this laptop in Venice, Florida, or wherever it ends up being. So, all those things, we pay for that, we control that, and it will be monitored for functioning.
The best way to deal with it is keep it for what it's for.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Right,
We'll
we'll
have
have a little trust there
The
too.
state gives me a cell phone, and if I'm not at work, it's not with me. It dealt with nothing but work, and that's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing else on it. I don't look on there for anything else or anything like that. If I wanna do it, I got my own phone for that.
But it's awful easy for
It would be, yeah.
some people to
Smarter.
Yeah.
look up stuff.
Yeah.
So that, it'll be in the policy, it'll be in the package that you get to do all the right things, but practically speaking, we can't watch it every 2 seconds. But we can control what's on it and what you load and don't load and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Browsing is gonna be very difficult to be there 24/7 to say, you went to Cabela's for 5 seconds. You know, we're not gonna be able to do it. It's gonna be up to you to enforce it yourself.
But once you,
Well, that isn't right.
once you learn about it, it'll be great to get the emails and then break them down into different, areas.
Oh, yeah, well, and then
Files.
again, just to keep them all, because again, I don't,
No, you
I
can't
do
keep
not
all-
save them.
I have enough paper up to the house.
Right, well, and I don't, my per phone would be. I remember, so like with you, Brian, say with the state phone, I used to every, then I got cell phone, and I've never seen people with 2 phones, I said, I'm never doing that, and it wasn't a month and a half.
Yeah, you
I
know,
got the second phone, I said, no,
keep
you're
it
right.
separate.
You're
keep
right,
it
you just, it's the
divided.
only way to do it, you gotta keep it separate.
You gotta remember, whatever you write stays there.
Yeah, okay, so we'll get some stuff, and we can look at some stuff and see about getting a basic social media.
Yeah, and I'll mix it in with the code of conduct, just so you know
Yeah,
what's out
okay,
there. We have an outline of one, I just wanna see what the overlap is between social media and code of conduct.
And we'll find out we all need to quit, right?
I'd be so scared.
I know.
I'd be so scared, I don't wanna do nothing.
Get out of here, okay. Let me see, reviewing the minutes. I didn't print those out.
Yeah, there's no
I
16th,
did
you
look
can
at
defer the 15th if you want, or,
Okay,
I don't know, it's 8:30, almost 8:30.
yeah, all right, I know it's still light, I love it, isn't it
If you're
wonderful?
ready, I'll take a motion for the 15th.
Did we review the minutes for the 15th, we're good?
I looked down,
I didn't see any changes in anything, okay.
I move it, accept them as they're written.
Second.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Check it off.
Aye.
Aye, anybody opposed, anybody abstaining, okay. Town orders,
None.
none, that's right, I know it, it's like, we did, all right, I don't see any packets, where is she? The Dropbox,
I think Mr. Shackett asked to talk about that briefly.
yeah,
Yeah.
Ron and I had talked about it.
I got looking at, everything, it is hard as heck to find them, I mean, you can order them, but to find them, something maybe like a
Yeah,
It
lucky.
used to be the old
mailbox with the long
mailboxes,
nose
yes,
on it, you
yeah,
know, and you
exactly,
can just put
right.
the ballots, and they wanna be able to drive up and just drop them off because of
Yeah.
COVID and stuff, that's what's really spurring this whole thing, is to have a drop box for ballots and stuff, so when you.
But you
just
could
mail
do
them
it
in
for
or
the
you can
water
drop-
bills too, you could
Yeah,
do it
they-
for tax bills, you could do it for everything.
Yeah, and then the drop box we have up here, but they wanted it so that they could just drive up and, just like you do, like the one over there by, Sears in Morrisville there, you can drive up to that mailbox and you can just put your mail into it and drive off, you don't have to get out of your rear. That's something that they're kinda talking about, trying to do it, but, you sent out, one to me, but that one there, remember, yeah, you should be able to pull out on that, remember, right?
Yeah,
Put
we
it
pull out
in
and
there.
drop it in, so.
I don't know, how do you monitor that, Brian? I'm not saying everybody,
I know there's a big controversy over ballots that you don't go to the ballot box and
yeah, because
put it in and have somebody check
check
your name off,
out.
check it.
No, but that's
Yeah.
gonna be just like, that's gonna be just like the mail though, dropping it in here.
Yeah, but you ain't ever been here in a count, I don't think, have you, Sue?
Yeah,
When we said we had 856 voters, and we got 893 ballots.
yeah, but that isn't any different, dropping them out there isn't any different than mailing them in.
Or using the night box that we have already.
And we've
Yeah,
had
because
mail-in
people already
for
do.
for how long?
Yeah, we've been doing that for years, and
Mail-in ballots, we've had them for years.
this isn't
Yeah.
any different.
Yeah.
That's
Are there gonna be
Ballot.
somebody there check people in? Check people out?
Well, when they get the ballot, they go to the ballot list, the
Yeah.
people, and check their names off.
Where do
So
they
so
get
it
the-
isn't twice.
Okay,
It's been mailed to you,
I'm-
or you stopped and picked it up.
okay, I'm stopping here and pick it up.
No, well, okay, you may,
Okay, if I stop here and pick it up, they're gonna check me in.
yeah,
When I get to the mailbox and drop it in, they're gonna check me amount.
when they open that ballot, yes.
There's a number, ain't there? Don't
Well,
there?
no, you have to sign it, and on an absentee ballot, have you ever voted absentee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, then you fill out, here's your name, and you've signed it. So that's when you open the absentee ballot, Doesn't matter whether it's come in the mail or I drop it off here myself or you put it in a drop box. It's exactly the same thing. This isn't any different. This is just not making people get out of their car and come into the building to drop it off.
Oh, I thought you, unless I was on.
Yeah, no,
I
no.
thought they were gonna come in here,
No, no,
they're
no.
gonna get him one, they're gonna
No,
come around.
No, this is just,
Oh.
and so for the same thing for paying their water bills or their
Yeah.
light bills or paying your taxes, you know, that instead of having to get out of your
Yeah.
car and come in here and put it in the box, you literally, like, I immediately went to one of those old fashioned mailboxes.
Yeah, you thought
You
of
can
it
just
before,
drive
yeah.
up and drop it in.
No, I thought it was the people coming in.
Yeah, no, this is just to
So that,
save you from getting out of your car.
Well, they do it now anyway, to drop off at the ramp, to get in here, they have to pull in and then figure out how to back around.
yeah.
So you're looking for a box, you're saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I tried to find, even on eBay and stuff like that, old mailbox.
That's right, where
It
did
would work
those-
perfect, as long as it's keyed, it's secured, it's like,
Yeah.
postal,
Where'd they all go?
what's that?
Where'd all those old
Yeah, I
mailboxes
don't-
go? That's
I-
exactly
But
what
they
I thought
are,
of.
they are collector's items.
That was the phone booths.
And so, there was a
Now,
phone
would this,
booth right next to
would
them.
you be able to drop this off 24/7?
Yeah.
Sure.
There's a light.
So it has to be something heavy and secure.
Well, it'd be a concrete slab you're talking about for it, and then we can anchor it to the concrete slab.
4 bolts, 4 legs.
Oh,
I was gonna get Dave to help me pour concrete, he's
Oh.
got prior experience.
He's
And,
experienced.
I would support him by giving him my cement mixer to do the job with. Yeah.
What a deal.
I can do it.
So the project cost, do you wanna talk about that? We use volunteers for all the install and the concrete and all that. We might pay for a little bag of concrete or 3 or 4 of them, and then we actually buy a product that looks expensive. Because it's brand new, built for next, it's built the right way, so you can't get them cheap anywhere.
Yeah,
We've looked, so you have to pay this $600-700, but everything else is donated, or we
Right,
try to.
right.
so you have figured out I'm pretty tight with money, so I really searched and searched.
That's a give and take thing, yeah. Eventually, you just buy the thing in the catalog, even though you know it's probably overpriced by a little, you try to get it on sale. Then you're done. Because looking for it can take a little time too.
It's gotta be waterproof.
And the way they are, the way the one you sent me looked like it was.
Has a little overhang, over the door, so you
Yeah.
can pull out the.
Oh, you found one then?
It's like 700, was it?
Yeah. So.
700 for the box, and then we donate our time.
and that could be put on the Krollberg list for maybe
Reimbursement?
payback,
Yeah, we'll add it to
Well,
that.
yeah.
maybe.
No, we'll
Yeah,
add it.
could be,
we're-
sure.
We're gonna add that to
Yeah.
this is legislature just approved town help. And then
Yeah.
on Friday, I think, so I asked Allison to look into that and see what the strings
Well,
are.
it's one of those things you think about it and you start thinking about it and thinking about folks in the wintertime. When they're
Walking up
coming
the
in
ramp.
to, walking up or, paying their electric bill or their water bill or whatever,
Right.
getting out of their
That's the
car.
way I do it, I come here and go up ramp, and then I pay it, that way I'm on my way.
Well, if it's to pay the electric bill and water bill, they ought to
Chip in.
chip in half the bill.
Yeah,
Well, I think we just want to keep this to ourselves.
no, and we'll charge them rent.
Where are you gonna put it? Whereabouts would you put it, Brian?
What's that?
Where would you put it?
You said at the bottom of the ramp
If you're
here.
coming down the ramp, the bottom, there's a telephone pole, plus that big metal railing.
Yeah.
We tuck it in there so that it was sort of protected from plows and stuff.
Yeah, that's a good
You'd
idea.
have to hit
You
the
get to it
telephone
on the
pole
driver's
first.
side, huh?
You can't, well, they have to come in
Turn.
Yeah,
and they'll
turn.
turn around and go out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they can,
They
They
can
can
pull out,
pause
be
it
able to
from
pull
the
it
They'll
out.
be close enough for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just have to figure out how to get their car there or have their kid in the passenger seat do it.
Yeah.
One of those things.
Hopefully none of our employees.
Any other place we just saw plow damage or kid damage by
Yeah,
trying
that's
to
a
bump
good
into
place.
it or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
And like I said, like he said, that pole will be there. Hopefully there won't be any wires coming from the pole that will interfere with doing it. We just set the
Yeah,
slab
we
on
can just
top.
sit there and watch people trying to line up to put things in the box, right?
I knew a lady that used to put breath mints into the mailbox.
It's a good idea.
She thought it was something that was actually real, at one point. That's a long time ago.
Thought of that. Who thought of that?
Okay,
Not right now.
there we go.
That was getting late.
It is. Okay. and then we got anything, Fitch Hill? Dropbox?
The contracts for the sheriff, I meant to get here earlier to put those out, but I may have to have people
Oh, yeah.
drop by to sign them on the bulletin board.
Oh,
I'll have
okay.
Kim
Oh,
post
yeah,
the-
that's right, because we forgot.
I'll have the contracts, unless you wanna wait for a few minutes while I try to get into it too. So either one will happen, depending on how you wanna do it. The 1111 project permit, we already talked about that issue. But we do have a need for the water project to pick up the pace a little bit. The Amy Olson was outside and on Thursday last week, I think, and DigSafe came by and spray painted her whole lawn.
Oh, jeez.
Of course, she didn't know anything exactly what was going on. Carol Robertson said she would keep everybody up to date, but it's almost like she doesn't say anything until something happens. So you don't have a couple day notice. So DigSafe shows up, Amy calls me, what's going on? Do you like that? I said, look, the project is a moving target a little bit. We know it's getting through its paces and getting going. If you see a Menage truck out there and some contractor gets out, just go up to him and say, hey, I'm Amy, introduce yourself and ask him where he's gonna dig. Because he's the one that will know. Don't look at plans and try to figure it out, whatever. So she did that on Friday.
Good.
And then on yesterday or today, this morning, Mark French calls me and says, oh yeah, they just saw cut all of Church Street. So and he didn't know about it. So anyway, the plan is going forward that there's supposed to be a go-to meeting or Zoom meeting set up every Thursday at 1 o'clock, which people can log into and see what's going on that week and maybe the next week. It won't be a long-term plan, but it's more of a project meeting. The town engineer, as part of our 1111 permit, was supposed to be getting daily reports. He's not getting those yet. So I talked to him today about trying to get the engineering frame group to start sending those to Doug Weber so Doug can monitor costs and stuff. So anyway, that's all happening now. We're just getting going right now, mostly because the village cleared their easement issue, which was delaying the start of work a little bit. So I do expect in the next week or two to set, like Susan said, Church Street getting torn up, Amy trying to figure out how to get people in and out of her building and all that other stuff that goes with construction. What we hope that doesn't happen is that things blow up on a Friday afternoon where they hit a water pipe and it's eroding the road, or it's one of those things where you have to get all the highway crew activated to help out the contractor and all that. So that's that's the biggest. If we start to have property damage.
Putting a 4-inch main over now, if you want to.
4, 6, I think.
It's out behind the road garage down there by Rogers. Alley Rings.
That's 6-inch pipe laying around there?
Yeah, standard. Minimum.
They're putting temporary water in now, right?
What's that?
They're putting temporarily water in now.
Well, they should be doing something for everybody because they're gonna have to take out the old pipe. I don't think it's worth. They don't want any water running through the old pipe when they move it.
Right.
But it'll just crumble.
Right.
So.
Well, maybe that stuff I saw was temporary stuff.
It should be 2-inch or
Yeah.
less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does the old pipe secret?
No, but it's rusted, put it that way. It's at least rusted.
Is it iron pipe or is it that
Yeah,
old
Must be oil.
Yeah, it's all orange.
Bakelite stuff there? I mean,
No, it's orange rusty.
orange burger.
The pictures I see.
Orangeburg was what, 50s?
So anyway, if that notice comes out, I'll share it with all you so you have a choice to, pop in. And then I do want to pick up with Doug Weber on what he needs to do with Mark French to keep everybody as current with potential issues or changes. Because there's always changes to a contract on this side.
Okay, let's see, we have other business and notices, and then we probably have to have executive session to talk about the contract.
Yeah,
Hopefully it won't take long, but, okay.
2 quick updates.
Yeah.
Do need Susan to sign the annual NEMRIC contract. This is a annual contract for $5,000 that provides all our software support from NEMRIC to Kim and Allison and Kristen.
Okay.
So if you can have a motion to sign those annual NEMRIC user agreements, that would be good. And then the second thing was the Hooper Cemetery date. I don't know where I am in updating people, but Vermont Land Trust had a couple suggestions to an easement language. And Mr. Jones had a suggestion to not add gravel to this
Yeah.
proposed easement. So I just need an okay to go to the next step, which is to draft the
Yeah.
right away for the document so that the Jones family and the land trust can look at the easement before it gets.
Brian's very good about it, he just didn't want much gravel there, when he picked up stuff and just mow in there. Stop it there.
So that's okay to continue? I don't know,
Okay,
before I do any more work?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I need. And I'll give you that after the meeting. For the network. Did you guys vote on network? Annual contract?
We gotta do that, right?
Yeah, you should get a motion.
So I move that, the board gives Susan permission to sign the NEMRIC contracts for the sum that it says, so state.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? Okay,
That's it.
then I guess we just need to go into executive session.
Okay, that's gonna take a second to
Yeah, take
download
a second,
everybody.
right, get everybody
Where's
off.
the camera go, anyways?
Yeah, I got instructions. She might be out there, but she might have left. I have the instructions to lock it down. Anybody online, we're going to executive session to talk about the union contract. If you wanna call back, you can text me or email me. I don't expect we'll have any more business when we come out.
We're going into executive session.
Is she coming in? Is she coming in? Yeah. Oh, good, thanks. Okay, so.
This session is no longer being recorded.
Okay.
it.